Yes, we are back. We are live for a watch-along, the first watch-along of 2024. It's day one, even though it's not really day one here in the UK. It's day two. It's January 2nd, but in the United States of America, it is January 1st, and it's a day one edition of Monday Night Raw. And I thought I'd start the new year fresh. I'd start the new year hot. I'd start the new year ready. I've got my cup of coffee. It's going to be, by the way things are going already this week and the way that things are rumbling at the moment, it's going to be a big week in the world of professional wrestling, I think, certainly. We got the day one edition of Monday Night Raw. We've got AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, which, by the way, might be a bit going on Wednesday as well. And then, of course, Friday we got New Year's Revolution edition of SmackDown. So there is so much going on right now. So welcome to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. Click the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. You can see the current subscriber total right there, 15,557. See if we can get it. I mean, I like to set targets when we do these kind of watch-alongs and these kind of post shows. There is going to be a watch-along. Obviously, we're doing it right now. The show starts in about 13 minutes, but there's also going to be a post show as well tonight. Lots of people really enjoying the post shows, actually, that we've been doing them. We kind of brought them back. We brought the watch-alongs back last year, and we're going to expand them. We're going to grow them this year, certainly, as well. We're going to be doing watch-alongs and post-shows for near enough every pay-per-view that I can think of, from WWE, AEW, some TNA stuff as well. And if there are special editions of Raw and SmackDown like this, then we'll see what we can do. I'm an open book. I'm ready. 2024, new me. Apologies once again that we missed the AEW World's End watch-along and post-show last week. Well, when even was that? A couple of days ago. I mean, honestly, I've been so ill over the last sort of week or so. Norovirus. I don't recommend it, certainly. And yeah, I was really, really annoyed I had to miss that, but these things happen, don't they? So we're going to make up for it, certainly. We're going to be watching Day 1 Raw tonight. And as I mentioned, it's going to be a really busy, newsworthy, and noteworthy show. Let's get into it. We've got 12 minutes before the show starts, and there's a lot to get into. Big up to everyone that's already in the chat filing in. Click the like button as you come in. Karen says, hi, Owen. John says, hey, Owen, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everyone that's filing their way in as well. Okay, let's get straight into some news. We got some news to talk about before we even get into the show or anything like that. First of all, spoilers ahead. Like, if you don't want to be spoiled, then I would recommend coming back once the show starts or anything like that. Oh, by the way, you can see it right there. Birdfish 420, new subscriber, welcome. As you can see right there, new subscribers as well as super chats and memberships. You will receive an on-screen thing. Super chats, there'll be gifts popping up, there'll be noises popping up as well, so be sure to get those in too. Same with new subscribers, same with new members as well. News. Let's start off. Spoilers, as I mentioned, but it's kind of a big story. Andrade El Idolo has finished up with AEW. Finished up at AEW World's End this past weekend. It's a bit of a strange one, actually, with him, because the reports previously suggested that his contract was up in the spring. He told AEW last week during Dynamite, or backstage at AEW Dynamite, I don't know if it was during the show, but it was backstage during Dynamite. He wanted out, and he wasn't going to stay in AEW. By all accounts, according to Fightful, it wasn't very pleasant, and it wasn't very pleasant and civil, shall we say, of a departure. He's wanted out for quite some time, and he's tried his best to get out of his AEW contract a few times. Certainly it feels like, doesn't it? So he has finished up with AEW, did the favors for Miro on the way out. He is expected to be signing with WWE imminently, and many people, we've covered this in the news videos that we've done today, expect him to be at Raw tonight. And certainly stoking those flames is his former manager in WWE, that's Zelina Vega. She tweeted just under an hour ago the following, saying, quote, "I have a little secret," with the laughing emoji like that. And I think that little secret is her former client in WWE. That's the former NXT champion. That's the former United States champion, Andrade Cien Almas. Andrade El Idolo seemingly is no more. Andrade Cien Almas seemingly is going to be back. So that's certainly something to watch out for. Also, something to watch out for tonight. He's not advertised for the show. And as I mentioned, spoilers. There's still a spoiler warning in process right now. So if you don't want to hear it, leave, all this kind of stuff, but he's not advertised for the show. We know CM Punk's schedule for January involves 2 editions of Monday Night Raw, and it did feel a bit weird to me that CM Punk, considering I've just signed for Raw, I've just come back to the WWE, arguably the biggest episode of Raw prior to the Royal Rumble is tonight. I mean, it's the day one edition of Raw, first Raw of 2024, big stars loaded up for the show, title matches loaded up for the show. I found it be quite strange for CM Punk not to be on the show, and looks like CM Punk at least is backstage, because Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select is reporting that CM Punk is indeed backstage for Raw Day 1 in San Diego, California. As I mentioned, he was not originally advertised for tonight's show. They say they don't know if he's going to be used on the program. Punk has been backstage at events recently and not been used. He's been backstage a couple of times for NXT, but the fact that he would be in California, you could argue he was in California anyway, because of course he was at the live event at the Kia Forum in California a few days ago. He wrestled Dominic Mysterio. So there's certainly a chance that he just decided to stay in California and he was like, I'm not booked for the show, but I'll be backstage. But if he's backstage, it feels kind of strange that he wouldn't be used. So CM Punk could be a part of the show, certainly. Now, this is away from WWE, but certainly it does kind of involve them, because they were in talks with this talent recently and then talks broke down. Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks in WWE, she is reportedly in talks with All Elite Wrestling, and industry sources expect Moné to sign on the dotted line and become All Elite, possibly debuting as soon as Wednesday. This is a story that we covered earlier today in a news video. We spoke about Dave Meltzer's reporting, Brian Alvarez. Certainly, you can have your feelings and opinions on them, but when it pertains to AEW and certainly people signing with the company, because they're probably talking to Tony Khan, the reporting is probably somewhat accurate when it comes to that. Now, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Mercedes Moné is narrowing down on her decision about her future. Now, it had been reported previously by Fightful that Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, had actually been in conversations with WWE about a potential return to the company. However, the two sides were quite far apart on terms, particularly money, and she reportedly had a higher asking price or wanted a bigger contract than Charlotte Flair's recently newly signed contract with the WWE, which is one of the highest paid contracts for a female star in company history, and Sasha Banks wanted more than that. So WWE and Mercedes Moné were very far apart on terms. They decided to go their separate ways. Doesn't mean that something couldn't have been worked out, but as of right now, they're no longer in talks. Now, in following up on that report, Fightful say that they have learned that Mercedes Moné has continued conversations with AEW. She was in talks with AEW whilst being in talks with WWE. And basically, the AEW situation looked a bit like the WWE situation, because just really a month ago, it was reported that the two sides, once again, couldn't come to terms. We did that story in one of the news videos whereby there were originally some working plans involving Mercedes Moné and AEW in 2024, and Sean Ross Sapp then reported that those working plans were no longer working plans and they'd kind of fallen apart. Again, based on money. But beyond that, those in the industry that Fightful have spoken to now say that All Elite Wrestling is indeed the likely landing point for Mercedes Moné. Those that Fightful have spoken to expect her to land in AEW, though nobody can confirm that she's officially put pen to paper and signed on the dotted line. Now, it must be stressed when it comes to new signings in both WWE and AEW recently. There have been quite a few instances, specifically Will Ospreay of AEW, CM Punk with WWE, where the actual physical contracts were not signed until the day of their appearances with AEW and WWE respectively. This was the same when CM Punk was in AEW the first time actually as well. He didn't put pen to paper until apparently he was in the United Center in Chicago. Now, one source has claimed that they heard AEW and Mercedes were really close to agreeing terms, but also said it's never official until it's official. Mercedes, as I mentioned, was said to be asking for one of the largest contracts in women's wrestling history, and WWE sources have stressed that the former WWE champion that's rumored to appear on Day 1 Raw tonight was not Mercedes Moné, because the expectation is she's probably going to be on Dynamite on Wednesday. So you say, Owen, then, who is this ex-WWE champion that Triple H and others have been teasing? Well, lots of people expected it to be Andrade El Idolo. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Now, that's not to say Andrade is not going to be on the show tonight. The expectation is he probably is. Zelina Vega, we spoke about it, has done the tweet saying, I have a little secret. So we could be seeing multiple surprises and multiple returns tonight. Once again, if you don't want to be spoiled, click away now. Everything like that, you can save it and save your surprise for the show. It is 5 minutes to go, so if you've got this far, probably worth not getting spoiled or anything like that. But when it comes to this Day 1 surprise, it's been widely reported now on social media. I'm not sure it's too much of a spoiler or anything like that, but the belief And the speculation is that the former WWE champion that's going to be returning tonight on Raw is the same former WWE champion that returned to SmackDown in Colorado last year when Pat McAfee was in town. When Pat McAfee was in town in Colorado, he was there hosting College Game Day. That time, they had The Rock as a special guest on the show, and later on that evening, The Rock appeared on SmackDown. Today, The Rock was on College Game Day. He was on ESPN. And the expectation is that The Rock is going to be making an appearance tonight on Monday Night Raw. That is the assumption for many people within the industry. Now, actually, and you could say, well, maybe you're putting two and two together there. Well, actually, Nick Khan, the WWE president, was spotted with The Rock in Pasadena, California, where they were hosting College Game Day as well. And that would give an indication that probably, if they're both there, they would probably go to Raw together later on this evening. It's a pretty safe bet, certainly, isn't it? Now, what The Rock's going to be doing tonight, that remains to be seen. It goes down two roads, really, doesn't it? One road, which is, it's the same really appearance as he kind of did on SmackDown. He comes out, he does his catchphrases, maybe a rock bottom of people's elbow. Crowd go crazy, and he goes home. He's got stuff going on. The XFL have just merged into another football league. He's got films and that going on. The Rock's just being The Rock. Or, it's the first Raw of 2024, and whilst we may know we're not officially be on the road to WrestleMania, the next pay-per-view, premium live event is the Royal Rumble, and that does kickstart the road to WrestleMania, and The Rock has hinted that possibly this year, WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia might be the time that we get that match between himself and Roman Reigns. Now, if you hear just very briefly, you might be able to hear some noises actually in the background, and I believe that is Cody Rhodes screaming at the top of his lungs about finishing his story, because let's face it, if The Rock says to WWE, I want to do the match, I'm free, I've made myself free, I'm in shape, I believe I can do the match, The Rock versus Roman Reigns will happen. This match between Reigns and The Rock really just depends on whether The Rock wants to do it or not. And as much as the storyline and really the future of WWE, not like it's going to be in trouble, but I just mean in terms of the story that they've been doing for the last year, which is Cody Rhodes finishing the story, should be Cody Rhodes finishing his story, winning at WrestleMania, defeating Roman Reigns. If The Rock wants to do the match, WWE's going to do it. Then they'll be like, yes, Rock versus Roman Reigns, absolutely. So it's going to be very, very interesting, to say the least, to see what happens regarding him tonight. So there is a lot going on in the world of pro wrestling at the moment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. We're only one subscriber away, actually, from 15,560, because there's going to be a lot of videos, there's going to be a lot of live streams, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, certainly. It feels like it's a big week, it's a big year for pro wrestling. A lot of free agents, TV rights. Of course, we know that SmackDown's heading to the USA Network. We know NXT's heading to the CW. We don't know where Raw's heading. We know that AEW, Warner Brothers Discovery, have extended or utilized the option year on their contract. But come this year, they're going to have to figure out a deal with Warner Bros. Discovery or go elsewhere. And maybe Warner Bros. Discovery, they might say, actually, we've had enough of AEW. We'd rather have Monday Night Raw or whatever Night Raw would be on at that point. So it's a massive, massive, massive year. So if you like pro wrestling news, this might be the place for you this year, certainly. We're about 60 seconds away from the show going live on the air. Let's see what the chat is saying here at the moment. Punish Sam says, good evening. OM Wrestling News 3655555. Yes, good evening to you, certainly. Good evening to Unai Emery, because he actually managed to beat him. I mean, what a miracle. That certainly was a Christmas miracle. Chiron says, Rock versus Roman at Elimination Chamber, which is interesting because people have speculated that could be a situation. People forget that Elimination Chamber show, massive this year. It's in Perth. It's a stadium show. What we're really looking at is, I mean, WWE, their premium live events this year are really going to be off the scale. Rumble, Tropicana Field, Stadium. We're going to have Elimination Chamber, Perth, Optus Stadium. It's a beautiful facility as well. And then you've got WrestleMania back-to-back nights, Lincoln Financial Field, Philadelphia. It's a big year for WWE. And here we go. The cold open is going right now. Snuck on me fast, that did. I've got my cup of coffee ready. So I hope everyone is doing good. Cheers, all the best, and all that kind of stuff. I really was actually a bit disappointed with like the new Raw intro, because I really thought they did the whole big thing, didn't they? Been like, we're gonna do a new Raw intro. And look, I'm a product of the late 90s, early 2000s, so I wanted Across the Nation, Papa Roach to be loved, something like that. It's just not the same anymore, is it? It's just not the same. But there we go, we're live, Day 1 Raw. Oh, Michael Cole's on the microphone. Of course, it's the first Raw without Kevin Dunn as well. Welcome to Monday Night Raw. Michael Cole and Wade Barrett in the ring. Different presentation. Very interesting. I mean, this is really, it's the first year without Vince McMahon. I know people can talk about, Vince McMahon, he wasn't involved last year. For points, there was a lot of jostling and, posturing going on last year with WWE. And this is now Triple H's fully formed vision. No Kevin Dunn, no Vince McMahon. It's a new dawn, it's a new day for WWE. They're just running through the matches. Rhea Ripley, Ivy, Nile. We got 2 World Championship matches tonight, guys. World Heavyweight Championship and Women's World Championship as well. It's a big show. Oh, look at this. An internet rumor. Triple H not going to confirm or do. They confirmed, Michael Cole just confirmed the rumor is true and a former WWE champion is returning to Raw tonight. The American Nightmare is on Raw tonight as well. I like this start. And here comes the man, Becky Lynch. Looks like we're going to be getting this first ever singles match between big time Becky Lynch and Nia Jax. I like that start. I like that presentation. It's going to be, again, very interesting to see what the presentation looks like without Kevin Dunn being involved. This is 5 years in the making. And we're just getting a video package with this, of course. And it's really the origin story of the man in WWE, isn't it? November 12, what do they say? 2018 there. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. The whole thing was very played out, but Becky Lynch was going to be facing Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series, champion versus champion. She was the SmackDown Women's Champion. Ronda Rousey was the Raw Women's Champion. Becky Lynch, really, she was over. She'd had the big heel turn that wasn't really a heel turn. People were like, thank God you're doing something with Becky Lynch, rah, rah, rah. And the plan at that point was still to do Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair as the main event of WrestleMania. That's what the plan was, certainly. And then obviously Nia Jax punched in the face. The match didn't happen, but it was the best thing that happened to Becky Lynch because she was out of action for a while. It effectively turned her babyface. She didn't have the match with Ronda Rousey, which frankly she probably would have lost. And because she didn't have that match at that time, she got more over, won the Women's Royal Rumble, went on to WrestleMania, and won the first ever women's main event in WrestleMania history. So it certainly is a big moment. It's a massive moment. And what is quite interesting when it comes to Nia Jax as well is that Triple H, I think the booking of Nia Jax has actually been all right since she came back, which is surprising. What are people saying here in the chat? Adam says, how big would it be if it was Stone Cold? Anything's possible, but I think it's The Rock at this point. David Burke says, no energy drink tonight. No, I'm on the coffee this evening. I'm on the coffee because I have to get up early. Well, for me, I have to get up early for me. So energy drinks, sometimes energy drinks, they can wire you way too much. You know what I mean? So I'll have an energy drink if I know that I've got to get through like an AEW pay-per-view. That's going to probably last 6 hours, and then there's going to be a 2.5 hour media scrum. That's just going to be long. But for TVs like Raw or SmackDown, they're not too bad, because you know what time it's going to be. Sometimes with pay-per-views, you have no idea how long they're going to be. When it comes to TVs, SmackDown, they're great because it's 2 hours. So, it's very easy. 2 hours plus, 45 minutes an hour for the post-show. Raw, a little bit longer, obviously. So you don't really need the energy drink that much. And to be fair, I was thinking this earlier on as well. It's UK wrestling fans, and to be honest, it's the same with, you know, football fans around the world that aren't from the UK. They're just a different breed. I mean, it really tests your dedication, doesn't it? You know, if you love pro wrestling or you love, you know, like football and you're the US, soccer, and you have to stay up late, that's dedication. I have all the respect in the world. But Becky Lynch is in the ring. Day 1 edition of Raw and all that. I believe it's a sold-out crowd in San Diego. Look at that crowd. Yeah, it is a sold-out crowd. My goodness. What do people think about Nia Jax's new theme? Do you like the old one? I'm not like most girls. Or do you like this one? I'm not opposed to the new one. I think it's a rare occasion where it's possible. But I think it's going to be... Becky Lynch is probably going to take out Nia Jax here. Couple of signs in the crowd. Got to love a sign. Who doesn't love a sign? But here we go. Kicking this one off. Becky Lynch. Oh, tees off. On Nia Jax's face right there. Oh, goes for a manhandle slam straight away. Nia Jax just throws her into the corner. There you go. Bit of a reverse elbow. Becky Lynch for a crossbody. What was that? Just catches her. Dead weight. Oh, going to go for a Samoan drop straight away. Becky Lynch. Oh, step up Benzaguri. Goes for it once again. Oh, just... I mean, the thing is, I've always said with Nia Jax, this is the thing with her. Obviously, I know the reputation with her is that she's reckless in the ring and she's dangerous. And she is. I've always said, I remember it's one of the earliest videos I ever did on the channel. For me, I think her problem is, Nia Jax, is that she doesn't know her own strength. She doesn't know her own strength, so that, you know, when she's facing people like Becky Lynch or people that are considerably smaller than her, she just, like, brutalizes them, beats the hell out of them. And you sort of just go like, that's not how you're meant to do business, to be honest with you, you know what I mean? That's what she just needs to be careful with, I think, Nia Jax. Jawbreaker by Becky Lynch there. Going to charge her in the corner. Oof. Right hand there. A couple more right hands. There we go. Some forearms by Becky Lynch. They don't look great, to be honest with you. And load them with the right hands. Oh, an uppercut. Oh, kick to the gut by Becky Lynch. Hits the ropes. Duck under. Once again. And we got a bear hug by Nia Jax. Oh, goes for a leg drop, rolls out the way. Becky Lynch hits the ropes. Oh, almost a version of a natural selection almost by Becky Lynch. But Nia Jax kicks out at 1. It does feel like a big event though, doesn't it? It feels like a big event, feels like a big show, certainly. Becky Lynch charges the corner, attacks Jax once again. No way, she's going to go for the Bexploder. No chance. I would have preferred for, you know, new era, day 1 edition of Raw. Maybe we would have got a new Titantron or something like that. But that's just kind of pro wrestling nowadays, isn't it? It's all LEDs. Oh, another jawbreaker by Becky Lynch. Shotgun dropkick in the corner. Early flurry by Becky Lynch. Oh, floats over the top rope. Forearm. Becky going to go up top of it once again. Goes for a missile drop kick. Nia goes down. 2. And Nia Jax kicks out. And we're already going to go commercial break. Oh, God, I hate commercials. This is why sometimes the watch-alongs for these shows can be such a pain, honestly, can't they? Because it's like, oh, you know what I mean? It's constantly, never commercial, got to go to commercial every 5 seconds. Go to commercial. But it is what it is. But yes, but yeah, get your chats in, get your thoughts in about all of the news in the world of pro wrestling at the moment, as well as Monday Night Raw. Of course, as I mentioned, we got Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax to kick off the show. 3 hours of Raw, plus the post-show afterwards as well. Let's see what people in the chat are saying. If you haven't already clicked the like button, we're 11 away from 50 likes, so see if we can click that like button. And also only 1 subscriber away from 15,560 as well. Nathaniel says, hi, Owen. Hello, good evening. Happy New Year. What else we got here? Adam says, glad to see you recovered from the bug. Nasty stuff, Adam. Very nasty stuff. It was, yeah. Kervin also says, do you want to see WrestleMania go back to one night? Never. The only circumstance would be is that it used to be like it was before, which it was like limited to 4 hours. Because when WWE was on pay-per-view and the cable providers literally meant you had to be off the air by a certain point, WrestleMania used to be quite cool because it used to be 4 hours. They'd be like, special start time, it's an hour early, and you would get, 4 hours. And that was great. And that was, that felt like a good amount of time. It was biggest. It was the biggest event of the year, so it was a bit longer. But they got to a point, WWE, where those WrestleManias would just get so long. I mean, ridiculously long. From really once they moved to the network, but it got really bad around, I remember the first one that I thought this is really, really long was 2016, WrestleMania 32. I know that we had a couple on the network before that, WrestleMania 30, WrestleMania 31, but they didn't feel crazy long. But it began with WrestleMania 32 in 2016, and then just all of the ones after that, they were so long, and they were so just drawn out, and they had such big rosters, and they were trying to get everyone on the card, and it was just, it was just too much. It was way too much, and it wasn't even fun at that point. And then the craziest thing is, I think this was sort of 2018 going into 2019, then suddenly every premium live event became like that. Every premium live event started to go on for like 6 hours or 5 hours. It was insane. It was nuts. So I'm glad that WrestleMania spread out over 2 nights because it's just needed, and it makes it bigger. It makes it feel bigger. It's a weekend thing. So I like that, and I also like how Triple H, in particular, since he's taken the book. Oh, beautiful! Molly go round by Becky Lynch to their cover, kicks out. I also like how Triple H keeps premium live events fairly short. And, he doesn't have big cards. It's the same kind of booking that he had with NXT. NXT takeovers used to be like 5-match cards, maybe 6, but mostly 5. And keeps them short, keeps them sweet. Not to say that every single premium live event's been a hit, because there were a couple of last year that were so like filler. Like if you think about Fastlane and Payback, and even SummerSlam wasn't great last year from WWE, but it's got a lot better. Oh, Nia Jax, is she going to say? Becky Lynch, baseball slide. Nia Jax went for the leg drop on the apron. I thought she was going to shout her hole again. Oh, right hand to the gut. There she goes. She's going to try and break the face. Oh, wow. Nia Jax has punched the ring post. Oh, and a headbutt by Nia Jax. Oh, wow. Nia Jax just went for the cannonball on the barricade and just nearly took herself out completely. My God. That was such a rough landing by Nia Jax. I'll credit her for that. That was crazy. Oh, Nia Jax. Oh, just gets in before the count of 10. That was close. Just made it back in. Becky Lynch now is going to go to the top rope. Oh, goes for the leg drop. Is this going to be it? 2. Oh, and Nia Jax kicks out. One thing's for sure, Michael Cole, and particularly on commentary, is just so good under Triple H, isn't he? Disarmer's locked in. This could be it. Nia Jax going to roll out of it. Rolls her up to, Becky Lynch. Now going to go back into Disarmer once again. Well, it's not much of Disarmer. It's actually more of a traditional, more of a Fujiwara armbar, actually. What's Taz would say? Gujikatami. Oh, look at the power by Nia Jax. Oh, wow. Sour power bomb. But she forgot to kind of put Becky Lynch on the mat. 2. Oh, Becky Lynch. That was close. She kind of just... Nia Jax, I think they'll show it here. She lifts her out of the Disarmer and then moves into a sit-out powerbomb, but kind of put Becky Lynch down at the wrong time. And then the referee did a really slow count. I think he wasn't very sure what was going on. The crowd are chanting, "This is awesome," so they're seemingly into it. Crowd's fired up, no doubt about that. Crowd's absolutely fired up. Got to go to the top rope. Got to go for the Annihilator, Nia Jax. We're going to go for manhandle slam from the top rope. Nia Jax is trying to block it. She's trying to hold on. Whoa, she's going to go for a Samoan drop. She gets her up with ease as well. This is dangerous. Oh, Samoan drop from the second rope. 2. Oh, Becky Lynch kicks out. I tell you what, these guys, or these girls, are absolutely killing it at the moment. They've got the crowd right there in the palm of their hands. Michael Cole is standing up at the desk. This is outrageous. Look at this. Oh, that's a heck of a Samoan drop. 2, and she kicks out. Hey, the crowd are loving this at the moment. Credit to all those involved. Not bad going at all. And Nia Jax is picking up Becky Lynch by the hair. Oof! Slams her down face first. She's going to go for here. Now going to go for the Annihilator again. Becky rolls out. Nia Jax goes over the top rope. Dumped out onto the apron. If this was the Royal Rumble, she wouldn't be eliminated. What's going for here? Or kick to the gut again. And Becky just teeing off across the back of Nia Jax. Now Becky, whoa, she jumped off the top rope and just bang, a right hand. That was a great spot. They timed that perfectly. That was excellent. Here we go, Annihilator. She's going to win. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Nia Jax just pinned and defeated Becky Lynch clean in the middle. 1 right hand, 1 Annihilator, and a heck of a match. Wow. Nia wins clean. Right hand counter from a leg drop, and then Annihilator for the win. Clean in the middle. And I tell you what, it was a great match. I can't criticize it. Look at this. She goes, Becky Lynch, I think she's going to go for like a guillotine leg drop. There you go. And look at this. Right hand. Oh, and they timed it. Again, they timed the spot so well. So well. That was fun. I give that credit. King of Hunico Mundo says that was horrible. I thought that was fun. The thing is, this is what you got. I tell you what, she's got blood. She's got some colour. Look at this. Got blood from the mouth. King says, really, I thought it was horrible. I think this is I think the situation is that you listen to the crowd. The crowd are into it. I know you could argue how real is it and all that kind of stuff, but I thought that was fun. I thought that was decent. Decent opener. We're just seeing Shinsuke Nakamura doing these promos. The American Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, it kind of turned into like a bit of a roasting session, to be honest with you. I mean, this was what Nakamura was calling him as well was pretty hilarious as well. But also as well, we know the function of all this. The function of all of this is just to really is just to have Cody have something to do until the Rumble. You know, this is it's the same as John Cena feuding with CM Punk in early 2011 on the road to the Rumble. And then suddenly it got to WrestleMania time, then he's competing for the championship against The Miz. The same as John Cena when he was feuding with Kane in early 2012. And everyone's like, oh, what's going to happen? Because he's facing The Rock at WrestleMania. It's a TV feud. We're just seeing Cody Rhodes had Nakamura in the position for Crossroads on the announce table. It says, we're not done. And he's right, they're not done. Well, here comes the American Nightmare again. Why is he doing that weird smile, Cody Rhodes? What was that? What was that? Like, he does this a lot, Cody Rhodes, yeah. And I've noticed this. He does this thing where he comes out and he'll do like, he's smiling. He'll be like, you'll smile like that. And then he goes, and then focuses very quickly, like, I don't know, like, in AEW, when he's in AEW, I wasn't the biggest Cody fan because I felt like he just felt, so weirdly, for someone that was like a co-founder of the company, he felt so out of place, you know, because he was doing really like WWE stuff in AEW, and it just didn't fit, and it didn't really work with that audience, and the audience wanted one thing for him, and he wanted another thing for himself, so when he went to WWE, it worked, and he fits better. He fits much better in the WWE in terms of the character and all this kind of stuff. But he's an odd guy. Like his character sometimes is very, very strange because I felt this last year with him when he was facing Brock Lesnar. Like, there were parts of that storyline that for me I thought were so hokey. Like, so, and I felt that Cody Rhodes was fortunate in a way that the crowd didn't turn on him, because I felt if there was ever a moment that they were going to turn on him, it would be during that feud with Brock, because there were some parts of that, like, when you take a step back and look at that storyline, first of all, it makes no sense. They never explained Brock Lesnar's issue with Cody Rhodes at all. You had to just put two and two together. It was never, ever explained. In addition to that, they protected the hell out of this guy. Not only did he beat Brock in Puerto Rico, and Brock got a load of color, but the match in which Brock beat him, I still don't get the logic behind how Brock Lesnar won that match, in the sense of Cody had a broken wrist or a broken hand, and then Brock locks in the Kimura, and Cody Rhodes passes out from pain from a hand injury or a wrist injury. It was just very, very odd. I thought the third match at SummerSlam was their best match that they did. And I liked the psychology in that one. That made a lot more sense to me. I thought that was a better match involved in all of it. But some of it was just like a bit too like John Cena mid-2000s, you know. So, yeah, Cody's a strange one for me. I think he's a great guy. I think like I said, his character is much more fitting in this universe. But it's a weird one. He's clearly very protective over his character, I think, as well. He doesn't want to be a heel, which is fine, which is fair. But I think eventually there will come a day in WWE where the fans will be like, okay, we want to see something else. We want to see you evolve. And I suppose at the moment, the evolution is seeing Cody Rhodes becoming a world champion. But in a couple of years' time, what's the next stage of his evolution going to be? Is it going to be him staying as is? and being sort of the face of the company, the franchise player? Or is he going to have to evolve into something different? I think for his role now, which is really the face of the company, the baby face of the company, because Roman Reigns is the guy, but he's the guy that's not always there now. Cody is the face of the company that does all the media. I think he's perfect in that role, honestly, and he does a really good job in it as well. You could see it for like the tribute of the troops. You know, he came out that show. He didn't really need to be on that show, but he came out and played some video packages and stuff like that. That's his role, but. Yeah, there's just something with me, like I can't really latch on to that character. Maybe it's just because I suppose when you've been watching wrestling long enough, you see through what they're trying to do sometimes with it. And with Cody Rhodes, I think sometimes it just feels maybe a bit heavy-handed. Is that the word I'm looking for? I think he's a great promo, and I think he's a great worker as well, Cody. No doubt about that. But sometimes some of the stuff's a bit heavy-handed, shall we say? A bit like when he was in AEW and he was doing the feud with Anthony Ogogo, and he did the promo when he and everyone mocked him because they said he solved like racism, and everyone sort of rolled their eyes. He walks that fine line certainly a lot, doesn't he? When he does these promos or matches, and you go, "Come on, Cody." Here he is, though. No doubt, though, he's got everything he ever wanted. This role that he's in right now is all he ever wanted, all he felt that he should be in. And again, he's perfect for it. He's absolutely perfect for it. No doubt about that. And he's over. Kids like him. He sells a ton of merchandise. He's main evented WrestleMania. He's still young. He's been in this industry forever. He's fairly durable. Apart from tearing his pec when he did, he doesn't really get injured all that much. So he really is a franchise guy. What are people saying here in the chat at the moment? Dawn says, glad to see you're feeling better. Thank you very much, Dawn. George says, the dashing smile. Dennis says, hey, who do you think Triple H has re-signed? Well, a couple of people, to be honest with you. I think Andrade's coming back tonight, and I think that former WWE champion is going to be The Rock. David says here, rough start to the year, falling out my best mate on today. Grateful for Raw and the stream providing a bit of solace. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, David. You're always welcome here as part of the WN365 community, certainly, and hopefully things work out, certainly. Cody Rhodes in the ring right now, about to do a promo. There's one thing's for sure, the crowd in California is all kind of fired up. You're going to do so what do you want to talk about? He has the privilege of the first superstar to come to the ring and officially welcome everyone to the day one edition of Raw. We're 5 likes away from 50, by the way, so if you haven't already clicked the like button. Cody Rhodes talking about his goals for 2024. He says he's a little stuck. What he's stuck on is Shinsuke Nakamura, the television feud. Well, Cody Rhodes is in his gear, so he's wrestling. We know that he's going to be wrestling this evening. He says he's not stuck on Nakamura for the things he said about his family. Comes with the territory. says he's not stuck on Nakamura because of the mist. He tried to poison mist him. He says he's stuck on him because this should be over. Of course, they had their match, didn't they? And then Nakamura got disqualified. Crowd in California chants for Cody. 2 likes away from 50, by the way. 60 people watching. If you haven't already, click that like button. Be sure to subscribe to bottom right-hand corner. Oh, Cody says it should be over and he's going to give Shinsuke the opportunity to finish it tonight. He's calling out Nakamura. He says this ends, and this ends right now. Maybe we're going to get some... There's Nakamura again, appearing where else but the Titantron. The Nakamura presentation they've settled on does work very well, doesn't it? I never thought it would be so easy to get into your head and to become the author of your final chapter. I have whispered the plot in your ear. Oh, look at this. They got some graphic novelization as well. Push your character to the brink page by page. I have blinded you so you cannot see the ending. This is very good stuff. But your story does not end tonight. I want to give the American Nightmare 1 more week to dream. So we're not going to be getting Nakamura versus Rhodes tonight. It looks like it's going to be happening tomorrow. I become what you could never be. I finish your story. By the way, again, these graphics that are on the screen right now for this are great. And they're not easy to do, by the way. It's good stuff. Oh, and he just sprayed mist into the camera. Could have maybe done without that. And the music plays. I say be careful, Cody. I reckon Nakamura might be behind you. Cody looks angry. Well, no Nakamura behind him. I like the Nakamura promos, though. They're good quality. And saying 2 weeks ago, Kofi Claus got attacked by Imperium. There was, as you saw right there with Jey Uso when he came out as well, people were talking about how when Jey Uso does run-ins, he pulls all these kinds of faces. It's actually quite funny. M. Bison says, you don't need to tell us promos word by word. We're watching too. Well, that's where you're wrong, M. Bison. Some people might not be watching. And also, I'll do what I want. Sometimes it might be a case of reading them out loud for myself. Here comes Kofi Kingston. Of course, the only member of the New Day that's not injured. Xavier Woods out of action at the moment. It's a bit banged up. Big E still out of action with his broken neck. Kofi got the different ring attire at the moment as well. Royal Rumble. When is the Royal Rumble? Is it the end of this month? Obviously, I know it's this month. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, of course, a Warner Brothers Discovery game. That's got Samoa Joe in it. And here comes Jey Uso. It's on, was it Saturday the 27th? I think it is. Yeah, January 27th. So what? That's in 25 days, just over 3 weeks. Look at that in California as well. Of course, look, Jey Uso from the state of California as well. From San Francisco, California. Super popular. Super over. I mean, he's been one of the big success stories, hasn't he, of the Bloodline storyline, is Jey Uso. No doubt about it. Super popular. And a really good wrestler. A really good singles wrestler. One thing you can't doubt about him, certainly, is his connection with the crowd and also his ability to deliver in big matches. Although I do think he was probably part of one of the sort of worser main event matches in terms of premium live events last year, which was that tribal combat match between himself and Roman Reigns, which the match. That match with Roman Reigns at SummerSlam wasn't great. And the more you think about it, and this is what's funny with WWE, and I don't think like enough's been kind of reported about it, and not enough's been said about it. But WWE, the popularity that they have at the moment is actually not staggering, but it's somewhat remarkable. And the reason why it's somewhat remarkable is because there's been so much internally going on in WWE over the past 12 months. It's actually quite wild. So if you want to look at the timeline, maybe over the last 8 months is best to put this. Vince McMahon retires, and even with all of that, there's so much going on at an executive level in WWE. It's proper Game of Thrones succession style stuff. People leaking stuff to the Wall Street Journal, board of directors investigating, people trying to get people on board, people disappearing for a while and then coming back. Vince McMahon. So that all happens, and then suddenly Triple H, he's in charge of creative. You've got the co-CEOs and Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan, and everyone's relatively happy in the company, and stuff's working. Ratings are going up, superstars are being re-signed, and they're starting to sell a lot of tickets. Like, they're doing well. WWE's hot at this point in time. And then everything's going great, and then beginning of basically this time last year, Vince McMahon holds up his own company, holds it to ransom, and says, I'm coming back. And the board of directors say, we don't want you back. And he goes, I don't give a shit if you don't want me back. If you don't let me come back, one, I'm not signing off on any media rights negotiations. I'll effectively kill the company and make sure that we don't have any TV deals. And also, any kind of sale you're trying to do, I won't sign off on that. I'm still the majority shareholder. I still have majority voting power. So they were like, well, he's got to come back. And he dressed it up as, I'm coming back to explore strategic alternatives, sell the company. And Vince McMahon's idea was to sell the company to someone that would give him full control and basically the role that he previously had. So it was like, well, I'm not in charge anymore, but these people want me around, so I'm sticking around. That was the idea. And in the interim, whilst they were negotiating that sale, Vince was back. Like, he wasn't, obviously he was backstage at the Raw after WrestleMania, which was a disaster. But he was working remotely and he was making changes. And if you notice, like, sort of at the turn of the year, really sort of after WrestleMania, but maybe a little bit before, but certainly after WrestleMania, there was a period of time last year where, like, some of those shows, WWE, were a bit tough to watch. And you're like, oh, what's going on here? And I think they had this positive momentum anyway that it didn't really matter. They were doing really good ratings and all that kind of stuff. But there was so much going on behind the scenes, and Triple H was still in charge creatively, but Vince was telling him stuff he had to change and making all these changes, and certain people that got called up to the main roster couldn't be used for a while. JD McDonough is a great example. And then once the TKO merger came together and it was officially done, Ari Emanuel, because he's not an idiot, looked and went, well, like, this is working. So, Vince, you can't have the creative back. You can't. And guess what? You're still being investigated for a lot of stuff, you know. CM Punk returns next week, by the way. He is backstage tonight, though, so we'll have to wait and see. So my long-winded point with all of that is that it is actually somewhat remarkable how successful WWE is at the moment and how they've really improved over the last year, because there's been so much going on in WWE behind the scenes that it really could have collapsed a lot of positive stuff that they'd built up. But I think a credit to WWE and a credit really to Triple H and Nick Khan for sort of holding it all together. And now they've got to the point where Vince is really out of the picture once again, and they're in control of everything again. Talent's happy. They're doing big shows. They're doing, good ratings. And they're once again able to fulfill their sort of creative vision. So I think it's a really interesting time in wrestling right now. Here come Imperium. No Gunther. They say he's celebrating his 500 and was it 70th or 507th day as Intercontinental Champion. In reality, he's just had a baby. He's just had a baby boy. So he's on some paternity leave. I'm not sure what the direction is, it must be said, for Imperium, because it certainly feels like they're destined to split up, doesn't it? I think maybe Ludwig Kaiser's going to get a push maybe after WrestleMania or something like that. But we ring the bell, we're on the way. Day 1 edition of Raw. Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston versus Imperium. Look at that, by Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston, if he competes in the Rumble, will be his 16th appearance. Would be second to Kane. It's got to be Kane. Of course, Gunther set the record last year for the longest Rumble appearance. Eliminated Kofi Kingston, according to Michael Cole. An interesting tag team, to be honest. Kofi Kingston and Jey Uso. They've had some absolutely incredible matches. Some of the best tag team matches in recent WWE history. The New Day and the Usos. Their rivalry over the tag team championships. Of course, the Usos were instrumental in Kofi Mania. In that tag team turmoil match, which secured Kofi his WWE Championship match at WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan. Look at Ludwig Kaiser. Just exudes arrogance. Got great charisma, certainly, as well. Great worker. And now stops to the gut by Kaiser. Irish whip sends Kofi into the corner, off the middle rope. Oh, drop kick. Now Kingston, he's going to go for a dive, seemingly, it looks like here. Oh, and he gets tripped up by Giovanni Vinci. And then Kaiser, looks like he was trying to send Kofi Kingston into the post. Kingston's just hung upside down here. Oh, double pair of drop kicks by Imperium. And we're going to go to commercial. We're going to go to commercial break. Kofi Kingston, he's got some new kind of look about him as well, hasn't he? He's gone through several attire changes throughout his career, hasn't he? I remember him in trunks when he started out. Jamaican Me Crazy, Kofi Kingston. Then changed to sort of the longer tights. Now he's in kind of shorts and sneakers as well. Hey, I think let me know in the chat, if you were a wrestler, a WWE superstar, whatever you want to call it, what would your attire be? You know, when you play the games, what kind of gear do you set yourself up in? Are you just a trunks person? Do you put yourself in tights? Do you put yourself in shorts? Do you put yourself in a singlet, Kurt Angle style? What do you go with? I don't know what I would go with. I would probably go with... what would I go with? I don't know. It depends on the person, doesn't it? It depends on the person. Some people, that's just the look, isn't it? You can put it this way. You couldn't put Stone Cold Steve Austin in tights. You know, he's got to be black trunks, knee braces. That's the deal with Steve Austin, isn't it? In the same way, you couldn't put Edge in trunks because it was always the longer tights. That's what worked. In the same way, like the Undertaker, he had to always have the sort of longer. Kurt Angle couldn't be anything but a singlet, could he? You know, you got. You know, it depends on the character. To be honest, it depends on the body type. I think as well. Heel Nation says I do the Andre the Giant singlet. Punish Sam says honestly, KO is literally me, which is the shorts and the shirt combination with the taped up fists. I don't mind it. Kervin says Brock Lesnar style. The Brock Lesnar look has evolved, hasn't it, as well? Because when he was first in WWE, he was in the trunks and all that kind of stuff. Came back, he's in the fight shorts, which is much more Brock. I mean, it's much more, and he just, you know, with the big giant gloves, which obviously they were custom made when he went to the UFC. His hands were so big that they made those custom gloves because they didn't even do them in Brock's size at the time, which is pretty remarkable. What else are people saying? Harry says CM Punk doesn't look right in tights. CM Punk in his AEW run did a variety, didn't he? He changes it up all the time. He either does CM trunks, where he does the long boys, or he does fight shorts. He changes week to week, certainly, isn't he? And I tell you what, he's smart too, right? Because you know what happens if you change your attire week to week to week. What do you get? Action figure money. Because if you've got different attires, not just in terms of like you wear the same trunks all the time, but they're different colors, so you can do different action figures. But if you have vastly different attire, you can have several different action figures. It's smart. It's the same reason why when you watch an episode of Star Wars or Doctor Who, or in every single movie, they introduce a new random character that's really got nothing to do with the plot. But you go, why are you introducing this? Like in every new Star Wars movie, there's a droid. Why? It's all about the figures. It's all about the merchandise, you know. Think about it. When they did the sequels, which I'd rather not talk about, to be honest with you, because they're awful. But why'd you include BB-8? There's no reason to include BB-8. It's all about the toys, you know. It's always about merch. That's where you make your money. Drop kick by Kofi. Heel Nation says like the different Mysterio masks. You're right about merch. That's where you make your money, particularly as a babyface. Oh, we might be in a bit of trouble here, actually. I think Giovanni Vinci's had a bit of a stinger. Referee was talking to him, and we got some trouble. This isn't good. When the doctors waved off the match, Giovanni Vinci's in trouble. What's going on? I noticed the referee was talking to Vinci, and then they were doing camera angles. Referees rung the bell, where Jey Uso doesn't look happy at all. Something's going on. So, they've said that Jey Uso and Kofi have won, and Jey Uso looks not happy at all. He's taking his tape off his wrists. And Kofi's shaking his head. And they're zooming in. Kofi and Jey get their hand raised. Well, Giovanni Vinci's walking, so he looks okay. But what's going on here? This is very, very strange. We're just getting the drop kick by Kingston. It landed, got him in the face. So there's a referee stoppage. Vinci got rocked by a drop kick. But one thing's for sure there. Jey Uso and Kofi looked pissed. As if they think he's okay. Because he walked out. So I don't really know what that was there. Really strange stuff. Yeah, if you're just joining, so we just had a tag team match which was Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston versus Imperium. We had a spot where Vinci goes to like the second rope, turns around, Kingston hits him with a drop kick, and it does hit him on the jaw, and he kind of whiplashes his head, and immediately you saw the referee talking to Vinci and all this kind of stuff, and the camera angles went away, and they were focusing on the people on the ring apron, and actually a tag was made, and then the ref just rung the bell and was like, "No, done, referee stoppage." But Jey Uso in particular looked really pissed off by that, as if he thinks that Vinci, I guess, is okay. Maybe, I don't know. That was strange. I mean, hopefully Giovanni Vinci's okay, but that was, I mean, maybe he got a concussion or something like that. It cracked him in the face, but hopefully he's all right. But I think what kind of is puzzled me, to be honest, what's puzzled me in particular about that is that it's more Jey Uso's reaction to it, because I mean, if Giovanni Vinci suffered a concussion or they were worried about him stopping the match, absolutely the right call, no doubt about it, right call there. But in particular, yeah, it was more Jey Uso's reaction. He seemed really, really annoyed, to be honest with you, by it. I definitely wasn't kayfabe. That was legit. Here comes the Miz for Miz TV. But it was a very strange situation. But here come we got the Miz, and the Judgment Day are going to be on. The Judgment Day are going to be on Miz TV. It's NXT New Year's Evil tomorrow. And there's an interesting situation actually when it comes to NXT here in the UK, is that it's not on TV anymore. We got an email from WWE over the last week, basically saying if you like NXT, it's not on TNT. It's on the WWE network, and by all accounts, it's because the TV deal regarding NXT on TNT, if I recall correctly, it was done separately to Raw and SmackDown, because it's when, it sort of came in as part of the deal with, when they put it on in October, around that period of time. So it was kind of separate to that. For a while, they didn't have it, and they did have it. It was sort of not lined up. So as of right now, it's not on TNT in the UK. It's only on the WWE network. Now, I would assume, because once again, this is a negotiation year for the TV rights for WWE in the UK, that wherever the TV for WWE ends up going, NXT will go with it. But yeah, it's quite an interesting situation, that, certainly. I've got a sneeze coming. I can feel it. You know when you can feel a sneeze coming? But it might not come. When you're talking, you're like, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. But it's not there just yet. But that's an interesting thing with NXT in the UK. Not that it's like, it's gone, or NXT in the mud and all this kind of stuff. Television, when it comes to wrestling here in the UK, is very strange, because the numbers for watching Raw and SmackDown and NXT is considerably low. But wrestling's ridiculously popular here in the UK, and it's just because, first of all, TNT, not everyone has it. Like, it's a subscription channel, and even if you have, for instance, Sky or Virgin, not everyone has TNT. So you have to pay for it in that aspect. You have to pay for the cable or your satellite, and then you have to pay for that channel on top of that. So not a lot of people have it. That's why people always wonder, why was Impact TNA really, really popular here in the UK? Because most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, it aired on free-to-air television. Initially it didn't. It used to be on, was it the Wrestling Channel on Sky? But then for a long time, it was on Challenge TV, which was a Freeview channel here in the UK. And that meant it was really popular. And it used to do better viewers than Raw, SmackDown, because it was just more available. So that's why whenever Impact TNA used to come to the UK, it used to sell out arenas because people used to watch it every Sunday. So it'll be interesting to see actually where WWE lands in the UK in this new TV deal. Were they going to stick with TNT or are they going to go back to Sky? It's going to be really interesting with that. AEW are on ITV. They're on ITV4, but they're not live on ITV4. If you want to watch AEW live in the UK, you have to get the AEW Plus with Fight TV, which, to be fair, is pretty good going. It's not that expensive per month, and you get commercial-free interruption. It's pretty good, actually, if it works. We're back, though. Day 1 edition of Raw in California. They're in, as I mentioned, San Diego. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe to bottom right-hand corner. We're 8 away from 15,570. And a reminder, if you are a new subscriber, you should appear on the screen in the form of a GIF. Same when it comes to Super Chats. If you do want to contribute and send a Super Chat in, you'll also get a GIF and some noise. I can't even really remember what they are. I need to kind of set them better. I know that the 5, obviously, is Booker T. It's a GIF of Booker T with the, like that. And he says, "Tell me, I can't believe you just said that." I can't remember what the other ones are. There's quite a few Tony Khan and CM Punk sitting in a press conference ones. I forget which price tiers they are. And when the subscribers are out, it's the same thing. So they're a lot of fun as well. As we're just seeing a video package for Ivy Nile versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. A very strange title run, this, isn't it? Rhea Ripley dominant, obviously. Massive fan of Rhea Ripley. She's got the look. She's a great worker. Her promos have got a lot better as well. She's great. There's no way of dressing her. She's just brilliant. Her title run, though, for me, Rhea Ripley, is flat, to say the least, because it just feels like she's just sort of way bigger than any opponent. You know what I mean? Just like she's not. It's difficult. It's just almost not believable that anyone could beat her, and you know that no one's going to beat her as well. So, it's a strange one. They're definitely, by the way, padding for time because they plan for that tag team match to go on longer. So they're padding for time a lot, by the way, right now. I tell you what, WWE, they're loving their adverts. Oh my goodness me. My promo packages and on-screen advertisements. We're going to get to the Miz in the ring certainly soon, of his Miz TV. Miz is in his wrestling gear, so he's wrestling tonight as well. We know that's going to happen. Welcome to Miz TV. First ever Day 1 edition of Raw. We're an hour into the show. Miz is talking about the former WWE champion that's going to be showing up tonight. So far, no Rock, no Andrade, no Punk. Here come the Judgment Day. At least he didn't get interrupted by them, certainly as well. Heel Nation says, I'm thinking Keith Lee has long COVID. Apparently he's got a knee injury, or an ankle injury, or a leg injury. That's why he was ruled out of the match against Swerve Strickland. Injury that he's had seemingly since last year. As we wait for the Judgment Day to appear. Wait a minute, here comes R-Truth. R-Trizzle. No Judgment Day. It's R-Truth and he's wearing a Judgment Day shirt. He's got the Finn and Damien and Rhea and Dirty Dom, and also got Truth on there as well. I tell you what, former tag team in the ring right there. The Awesome Truth. Back in 2011, when R-Truth turned heel. I tell you, they were a good heel team as well. They used to rap their way to the ring. Instead of saying, "What's up?" Miz used to shout, "You suck." They were a good tag team. Faced off against The Rock and John Cena at Survivor Series. Miz just asked him if he's seeing invisible people again. Little Jimmy. He's asked Truth to have a seat. You've been waiting all year to see it. He says, "All rise for the Judgment Day." And people actually do. But I wish that they would put more effort into the set of Miz TV, apart from just 2 seats. Truth's doing PR work for the Judgment Day. He was doing admin last week. There's always work to be done. Truth says he's trying to make the Judgment Day likable to everyone. Oh, well, here come the Judgment Day. Well, 2 of them. It's Dirty Dominic Mysterio. And there's the man who looks like a Funko Pop. That is JD McDonough. What a giant head he has. A giant head and a tiny body. And obviously Dominic Mysterio just says "we," and everyone starts booing. It says in the most dominant faction in all of WWE, as people boo. R-Truth says that he's Dominic Mysterio's getting booed in his own hometown. And Truth's pointing out that JD's not even in Judgment Day. He beat him, and it was loser leaves Judgment Day. And obviously, Dominic talks and people boo. Simple as that. It's easy. They definitely boosted the audio there. You could tell. They did that there. Thing is, as well, they didn't even need to do it. He can't even speak. Miz said he can't even hear. Can't even hear they're booing him so loudly. Miz says he's more relevant now than he's ever been. He put himself over. Good for him. Miz says the only memory he had was of Dirty Dom when he got spanked by his daddy last year. Oh my. Truth. Don't bring that up. Crowd obviously chants 619 for Rey Mysterio. And talks about how he got beaten up by CM Punk on the Holiday Tour.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Super chat from Heel Nation. There you go. You can see exactly what happens there with the super chats. Appreciate you. Says, I wonder if Damian Priest is going to cash in. I'm hearing that confetti is at the top of the arena. Sometimes it's funny with that. Sometimes you see that confetti things drop down and nothing happens. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's a day one edition of Raw. They might decide to go that route. Maybe. I mean, sometimes when it comes to that, I mean, it might be Damian Priest might be in an Edge situation when he won his first title. Hold it until the Rumble and then drop it. It's going to be the Awesome Truth against the Judgment Day. It's very strange. I don't know what's going on with all this at the moment. Very. Yeah, as Michael Cole says, R-Truth doesn't know what planet he's on. I mean, they sort of maybe overdoing the R-Truth is dumb stuff just a smidge. I mean, talk about hammering that concept into the ground. My God. You can have someone be dumb about them being ridiculous or anything like that. That's crazy. Nevertheless, we're getting a tag team match in a second. We're getting the Awesome Truth reuniting against the Judgment Day's Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. That's a tag team match that we're getting right now. So there you go. They're just highlighting, obviously, the matches that are going to be taking place on SmackDown. New Year's Revolution. A different edition of SmackDown. Obviously, we're getting AJ Styles versus Randy Orton versus LA Knight for the opportunity to face Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. Interested what they're going to do with that one. It's either going to be AJ Styles or Randy Orton, most likely, isn't it? And then the person that doesn't face him at the Rumble is probably going to face him. Well, I say face him at Elimination Chamber. Roman Reigns hasn't been advertised for that show, which is quite interesting. I would think, and you would think, wouldn't you, that I understand he has limited dates, but I mean, Australia Stadium show on the road to WrestleMania, Roman Reigns has got to be there, right? And, you know, Roman Reigns at one point wasn't advertised for the Money in the Bank show in London last year, and then eventually he was, and we all know that he wrestled in it. So it might just be a case of them figuring out which dates they still want to use Roman for, or possibly mapping out the remainder of this, what he's going to be doing this year, because he's only contracted to a certain amount of dates for WWE. Now, they might have the option to pick him up for extra dates, but with a significant raise on money. So that'll be interesting to see if they utilize that. But it's just going to be really interesting what happens with Reigns this year, because I think most people expect Reigns to drop the championship at WrestleMania, but I really don't know if that's as much of a foregone conclusion as people think. I was more shocked that Reigns retained it last year than I would be if he retained it this year, if that makes sense. Like last year, I felt it all of the noises and all of the things that they were doing and all this kind of stuff felt like they were going in the direction of Cody Rhodes, he came to WWE to win the WWE Championship, the belt his dad never held. He got injured, came back, won the Rumble, finished the story. Like, that's the whole reason he came back, and then finishing the story meant even more because he won the Rumble and he came back from the injury. Like, it made sense. Like, that made sense. So for him not to win it, that was surprising. This year, if he doesn't win, I'm not going to be shocked. Like, I won't, because they're narrowing in on the Hulk Hogan reign, I think, and I get it as well. When people will say, I'm tired of the bloodline stuff, it's jumped the shark, but at the same time, as long as ratings are working and as long as arenas are selling out, they'll probably look at it, WWE, and go, why change? Like, why should we divert from it? There's still more we can do, and let's not, upset the apple cart too much. Let's just stick with what's going on. So I honestly wouldn't be shocked, but I suppose then you go into the territory of, Cody did well to kind of not rebound, but they did well to maintain Cody as a big star and all that kind of stuff after, last year. But if he loses again, and how'd you do it? Does he get screwed over again? Does he lose clean? If he loses clean, kind of no way back, in terms of challenging again. So it's an interesting one. Not the worst thing in the world, though. I like my wrestling not to be that predictable. So logic says the right thing would be Cody faces Rowan and he wins. But I won't be shocked if the opposite happens. But here we go. We're back. The Miz and R-Truth, the Awesome Truth, facing off against the Judgment Day. And Miz has gone to tag R-Truth. And now R-Truth is in the neutral corner. Again, there's one thing to have R-Truth be, an idiot. But, he's barely functioning at this point. This is kind of nuts. So R-Truth and The Miz versus Judgment Day. Back suplex. Kick to the face by The Miz. Ducks under a clothesline by McDonough. Oh, Hurricane Rana, look at that. New moves by the former WWE champion. And now he's going to tag in R-Truth. And maybe now Truth's actually going to get into the match. Snapmare. Oof. Here we go, R-Truth. And a leg drop. So now he is sort of resting again, I guess. A right hand by R-Truth to JD McDonough. There you go. The fact that Truth can still do like that lie detector move, by the way, is really nuts. Splash in the corner by R-Truth. Cover. And JD McDonough kicks out. It's been a bit of a strange episode of Raw thus far, really, hasn't it? You had the Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax match, which started the show off hot, and it was a good match. Then you had the Shinsuke and Cody promo, which was like, fight me. And Nakamura was like, no, next week. And then just ended with Shinsuke's music. Then obviously you had the Jey and Kofi versus Imperium match, which ended with the referee stoppage. Then you had the Miz TV segment with R-Truth that I just thought was really driving that thing into driving the R-Truth stupid into the ground. And now we've got this tag team match. It's it's been a strange first 75 minutes of this show, certainly, hasn't it? Very strange. We're on another commercial. Heel Nation says Cody wins Chamber to get to Mania. I think that's probably the route that he goes. I would think. I don't think he goes back to back and wins the Rumble twice. I think that it makes sense that Punk probably wins the Rumble, right? I think I think that's probably going to be the case. And then you get Punk versus Rollins. That segment they had on Raw a few weeks ago when they faced off, it was just magic, wasn't it? It was magic. It was electricity, intangible. I mean, that's right there, your main event of night one. Easy. The question is, what happens as the outcome of that match? Does Rollins retain? Does Punk win? Or, to be honest with you, they could go in a completely different direction where it's like Damian Priest wins the world title sometime between now and the Rumble, and I don't know, maybe Punk wins. Maybe Punk wins the belt off him, and then you get Rollins versus Punk at Mania for the title, and Rollins wins it back. Maybe they go something like that. Maybe that could be a direction that they go in. But that's your night one main event, certainly. And then your night two is probably Rhodes versus Reigns, unless something happens regarding, I don't know, let's say a former WWE champion that may or may not return tonight on Raw. Maybe, we'll have to see, certainly. Suit Powerful, one of our members, says, I can't move like R-Truth and I'm 30. Be a blessing to look like him at his age. R-Truth, I think, stopped aging. I want to say around sort of the mid-2000s. And I said, well, early mid-2000s. I want to say like 2005, 2006, something like that. He just stopped. Like, I don't know. He is remarkable. He is he's always been in great shape. He always just looks young. He stopped aging. The way he moves around the ring is incredible. I was a bit concerned for him, in all honesty, when he suffered that, he tore his quad in that episode of NXT against Grayson Waller. And I was worried for him because I thought, well, at his age, that's a career ender. But no, he's back. No problem. Back working, looks the same, being R-Truth. Like, he's been with the WWE for a long time now. I mean, he debuted or returned. First of all, he was K-Quick in sort of the tail end of the Attitude Era with Road Dogg. Obviously was an NWA World Champion in TNA. Signed back with WWE 2008, I think, on SmackDown. Been with the company ever since. Nearing on 20 years. I mean, if you combine both of his times, it is over 20 years, I think, something like that. It's, again, incredible. Absolutely incredible. And he's largely played the same character for however many years. I mean, that was what was kind of core of his Awesome Truth thing. He was a heel at the time and he was more serious. Springboard crossbody by The Miz. The Miz has entered his 2015 John Cena stage where he just, after doing the same moveset for however many years, he's just started doing crazy moves. Now, R-Truth's in the corner of the Judgment Day again. And look at that. Miz does a version of like a Dudley Dog now. It's crazy. Oh, headbutt by JD McDonough from the Funko Pop head. Very dangerous. And now JD McDonough's tagged in R-Truth. R-Truth saying, I'm in Judgment Day, you're not. And now they're saying to R-Truth, well, if you're in Judgment Day, attack The Miz. Why not? He says, I'm sorry. I guess he's going to hit him. Oh, and he accidentally hits JD McDonough. And here we go. We're going to get a skull-crushing finale. And they're going to win. Well, there you go. Skull-crushing finale on JD. Truth accidentally hit JD before as well. Wade Barrett says, I don't get it. And to be honest, I don't get it either. Very, very odd. But there you go. And we see The Miz hit JD with the skull-crushing finale. A bit of a strange one, that, to be honest with you. But there you go. I mean, the crowd like it. I think that, again, they're walking a bit of a fine line with some of it, to be honest with you. We're going to be getting, I think, this number one contenders match for the women's tag team titles. Of course, we've got new women's tag team champions after Katana Chance and Kaden Carter won the titles a couple of weeks ago. That's the one thing, or one of the things, certainly, that Triple H hasn't been able to figure out is the women's tag team division. He brought the titles back, obviously, after they were on hiatus, after the debacle of Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis. But he hasn't figured that out just yet, the women's tag team division in WWE. And what we're getting here, we're getting a Katana Chance and Kaden Carter promo package. And here we go. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven in a nightclub. It's certainly shot very differently to usual promo packages. And they're going to be fighting champions. But they're partying. Oh, and they've thrown champagne in the face of Chelsea Green. And now they're dancing in slow motion. What is this? What was that? I appreciate like it was shot differently and it's a different kind of promo, but I mean that's not for me, to be honest with you. Coming up next, though, Women's World Championship match is taking place. So there you go. It's Rhea Ripley versus Ivy Nile. Can we get are we going to get a shock here? Are we going to get a shocking upset? So like I said, it's a very strange show. It feels like. What's this? Is this some kind of mobile game? Or it's an arcade game? Become the ultimate champion. WWE Mayhem. Oh, it's a mobile game. Yeah, this is a strange show, to be honest. Because, as I mentioned, for a show that's had so much anticipation, and for a show that... I said going into it, you're saying, oh man, it's going to feature, possibly a return of Andrade, possibly The Rock, former WWE champion returning, World Championship match, etc. We are, halfway through now? We're about an hour and a half in, and not a lot to write home about, really. I mean, I'm just looking through sort of what's happened on the show. Good opener. The Shinsuke and Cody stuff was just like, we're not doing anything this week. Next week's going to happen. The Jey and Kofi thing kind of felt like they were meant to do something more, obviously, and then the Giovanni Vinci injury happened. I don't really know what that Miz TV R-Truth thing was. I don't think it particularly landed that great. And then you had that promo with Katana Chance and Kaden Carter that was, to be honest, rubbish. So we've got the Women's World Championship match coming up next, but... one would hope maybe there is so much planned for the second half of the show that we're going to be going, it was really a tale of two halves when it came to this show, because very flat at the moment. Very, very flat. I enjoyed the opener, but that's about it. that's really there to write home about. And for your day one edition of Raw, and this is the difficult thing, and this is why I hope wherever Raw goes, if it's probably not going to be USA Network, wherever it does go, I just really hope that it's no longer 3 hours. You have to remember, the only reason Raw is 3 hours is because USA Network, NBC Universal, Comcast, whoever you want to, think about, went to WWE back in 2012 and said, we want Raw to be 3 hours. And WWE, rightfully so, went, no. Like, they'll kill the show. Like, it's difficult. 3 hours every week. You want us to do a pay-per-view, essentially, every single week. We're not going to do it. And USA Network said, well, what if we gave you a load of money? And obviously, WWE went, we're listening. And they got paid a ridiculous amount of money. And they still do get paid a ridiculous amount of money for it to be 3 hours every single week. Because as much as the drop-off is for the third hour, and it's significant, the drop-off for the third hour in terms of viewership is significant, it's still more viewers than would be watching USA Network between 10 and 11 anyway. Like, that's the thing with pro wrestling. Like, it draws ratings, and it does good in terms of viewership and also key demographic. So they could have anything else on between 10 and 11. It wouldn't do as good as a third hour of Raw. So they pay a lot of money. But obviously, Raw most likely isn't going to be on USA Network. So another network might go, oh, we don't want it to be 3 hours anymore. 2 hours is fine for us. And if that is the case, really excited about that. Very excited about it. But it makes you worried because are USA Network going to just do that with SmackDown and go, the agreement we had with Raw, 3 hours? Yeah, we want 3 hour SmackDown. So, and it's going to be interesting to see what nights they end up on. They've labeled it as Friday Night SmackDown, but it might be actually totally different. It might be Wednesday Night SmackDown. It might be Tuesday Night SmackDown. It might be Monday Night SmackDown. Raw might move from Mondays. Apparently, all things are on the table. Same when it comes to NXT. That's going to be really interesting with AEW as well. I think the nights are going to shift quite a lot when it comes to pro wrestling. I think, put it this way, the current schedule that we have, Raw on a Monday, NXT on a Tuesday, AEW on a Wednesday, SmackDown on a Friday, that's changing, I think, in this year. It's just a case of who goes where. That's going to be fascinating. So we might have a situation when we're getting AEW and WWE shows going head-to-head again. Whether or not it's going to be AEW versus NXT, or because this is the thing, if it's AEW versus Raw SmackDown, they're screwed because we've seen what happens when in the rare occasions that has happened, and it's not good for AEW. So I think that's going to be very interesting, certainly. Ivy Nile in the ring though, and here comes Rhea Ripley. They are loving their promo packages tonight, aren't they? My goodness me. I mean, I'm not complaining too much, but they are really filling some time, aren't they? My goodness. And again, that's the kind of the burden that you have when a show's 3 hours. You have to fill time. So sometimes it is a case of filling time. How do we fill these 3 hours? Well, as a world title match, just do some promo packages before. Okay, And sometimes they can work. They can make the match feel bigger, feel better. Sometimes it's just a case of filling time. Listen to the pop for Rhea Ripley. Here comes the Eradicator. Look at the reaction. I remember Rhea Ripley was saying that she's having a problem with one of her knees, saying it kept popping out of place. Michael Cole calls her a superstar, and indeed she is. For me, there are very few people on the level of Rhea Ripley, and people forget with her is she is still so young. Like you sort of forget with Ripley that because how much of a star she is and her look and her persona and her aura, people sort of forget she's not even 30. She's 27. She's 28 this year. She only really just turned 27. She turned 27 in October. She is, again, another level. I think she can break any record in WWE, to be honest with you. She's got the look. She can work. Promos are better as well. I think she will genuinely, in 10, 15 years' time, when we're talking about the greatest women's wrestlers of all time, she'll be there or thereabouts. You know, no doubt. No doubt. As we're getting the ring introductions right now. If you haven't already, click the like button and be sure to subscribe too. We're 6 away from 15,570. Again, this is what's crazy is Rhea Ripley's the heel. She's getting the best, biggest reaction, biggest pop out of anyone in this match. And really, the chance of Mammy as well. Really, the question is just how much does Rhea give her in the match? To be fair, Rhea is very generous with what she gives her opponent. She tries to get him over as much as she can. So it's just a case of, how much is Rhea going to give her, to be honest with you. And look, it might be a situation with Rhea. They're just like, well, if there's no real candidates for her to lose the bout, then maybe she just won't lose it for ages. I mean, look at Roman Reigns. They might just be like, oh, Ivy now lifting up Rhea Ripley onto her shoulders. Oh, drop kick by Rhea Ripley right to the face of Ivy Nile. Oh, Ivy Nile went for a float over. That was a botch. Oof. Gets a boot up in the corner. Oh, sidesteps it. Ivy Nile now going to go to the top rope. Oh, crossbody. They're still hyping up the former WWE champion appearing tonight on Raw. Rhea talking smack to Ivy Nile. Clubbing blow to the back of Ivy Nile by Rhea Ripley. Ripley talking more smack, saying, "You are nothing." Oh, Hurricane Rana once again. Now I'll go for a throw. To be honest with you, she's kind of struggling a little bit. Is Ivy Nile, I think, here. Rhea Ripley says, "You're kidding me." And I don't know if it's just because those spots in the match were pretty much universally botched by Ivy Nile there. You had the float over. Float over was botched. You had a throw that was botched as well. A bit of a clunky start, to say the least. Clunky. And Ivy looks quite green and nervous, to say the least, doesn't she? Which, the thing is, when you get to that territory, then you start saying, well, was it the right thing to book her into the match, to be honest with you? Or is this too much too soon for her? Because sometimes that's the case. Sometimes it's not the right move to put her into the match, But so far, as I mentioned, a bit of a clunky start, to say the least, for Ivy Nile. Hopefully, she can get some momentum going. Perhaps we'll have to wait and see. How many likes are we currently at the moment? We're currently at 64 likes. So if you haven't already, click the like button. See if we can get to 70. Kervin says Rhea versus Maxine was not good. It was not. No, it was not. That's the thing. As I mentioned, that with Rhea is that I'm a huge fan of her, obviously, but her reign as champion has really left a lot to be desired, and I think part of it is just you look at the people on the Raw roster. Who'd you face off against if you're Rhea? I mean, the obvious one's Becky, but I think they're saving that for WrestleMania. So, who else is there? You know, like you could have good matches with Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. You know, more sort of established workers. But it's not believable that there's any threat to Rhea of losing the championship. You know, you look at any of them. The only person on the Raw roster that believably could take the title off Rhea Ripley would be Becky Lynch. That would be it, really, wouldn't it? Apart from that, I don't really see anyone else that's a credible threat, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I mean, if it was SmackDown, I mean, Charlotte Flair, she's out of action now. But if it was SmackDown, you could say, well, you could have someone against Bayley. You know, you could maybe have someone with Io Sky, or there's other options there. Or Bianca Belair. But there aren't really many feasible opponents, you know. Phil says they really need Jade to challenge her. By all accounts, I mean, the Jade stuff's really interesting, isn't it? Because if either they don't feel that, you know, she's ready yet, or they're not happy with some of her work. Because this is the thing with Jade, like, she's green, sure, but, like, you see, Maxine Dupree, and you see Ivy Nile, and Jade can work more, I think, than them two. But unless they're just like, because of how much we're going to really put into her, she has to be really good. I don't know. Or they're just holding off for the right time creatively. Maybe that's the thought process. They're back from commercial. Got Rhea Ripley putting a submission on Ivy now, just there. Oof. They're putting over on commentary how Ivy Nile has hung in there thus far. Forearm by Ivy Nile. Oh, drop kick to Ivy Nile. Just flew her out the ring. That was rough. And crowd once again cheering for Rhea Ripley as opposed to Ivy Nile. And now she's got Ivy Nile up on the shoulders. Oh, goes down. Oh, German suplex by Ivy Nile to Rhea Ripley. Now they're talking about the champion's advantage. Count of 5 by the referee. Both are outside the ring, of course. Now kick to the hamstring by Ivy Nile. Oh, Enziguri to the head. I'm going to go for a Hurricane Runner. That was better. Much better by Ivy Nile. Ivy's starting to show some fire. Or kick into the corner. Oh, what was that? Not sure what that was. Oh, Ripley kicks out. It's true. There are a lot of good workers, a lot of female workers in NXT. You think of Tiffany Stratton, you think Roxanne Perez. You think they still technically got Maiko Satomura, Lyra Valkyria. They got a lot of quality female talent. Oh, Rhea Ripley, whenever she does that DDT sour, it's so rough, isn't it? And Ripley kicks out. It always looks like Rhea Ripley's just like broken her neck on that DDT sow. Or reverse elbow by Rhea Ripley. What's she thinking about here? Oof. Again. Went for a... I think Ivanhoe was meant to reverse that back suplex, but she botched it again. I mean... Botched reversal from a back suplex. And there's a missed dropkick. But once again, when you're looking at this show, that's meant to be this sort of big day one event and getting people excited. And this is a big sort of Women's World Championship match and all that kind of stuff. It does feel, again, somewhat flat, shall we say, to say the least. Yeah, which is quite interesting, I think. Now I've got to go for the Riptide. Oh, floats over. Oh, kick to the head. Ivy now. Gut wrench suplex. That's a bit better. And Rhea Ripley kicks out. I mean, and you know what is interesting, actually, thinking about it? Compare how the crowd sounds now versus how the crowd sounded for the first match. That first match, Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch, this crowd was going crazy. They were in the palm of their hands. Now they're quiet. They're quiet. Ripley, just slams Ivy Nile face first. Cover, Ivy Nile kicks out. Well, Rhea Ripley's cursing out the referee. They had to bleep her language. Maybe because she's not happy. Because they've lost the crowd a bit. They have said that the former WWE champion is going to be returning next. So maybe that's going to spice things up. I think they need it. This crowd needs it, certainly. Ivanhoe's on the top rope right now. Right hand by Ripley. They're going for here. Going for a superplex, but it makes me a bit nervous considering how this match has gone so far. Blocks it. Blocks it again. Now getting some right hands in. Oof. I'm maybe going to get a sunset flip bomb, perhaps. No, Ripley hangs on. I went for the right hand, ducks it. Oh! And send Ripley's head into the turnbuckle. Oh! German suplex off the ropes, and that was high and tight on the neck. Always makes me nervous. Cover. 2. Oh, and Ripley kicks out. Let's have a look at this. It was the elevated German suplex from the second rope. There we go. Oof. This is what I don't get from the crowd, right? The "This is awesome" chant is so overdone, isn't it? It's so overdone in pro wrestling. Because, don't get me wrong, Ivy now has grown in confidence in this one. But they're chanting "This is awesome." I don't know about that. Oh, headbutt. Headbutt, knee, and Riptide, and Rhea Ripley wins. I mean, decent closing moments, you'd say, from it. I don't know if I would say it was awesome or anything like that, or it was a great match. I thought it was clunky, to say the least. But we just see Rhea Ripley got the headbutt from a crossbody, and Rhea Ripley retains to the obviously to the surprise of nobody, but Rhea Ripley retains. So another successful title defense for Rhea Ripley. World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, of course, still to come to defend his title later on this evening. Going to be defending his title against Drew McIntyre. Of course, that's the main event this evening. So who's it going to be? Who's going to be the former champion? It's up next. Don't have to wait long. Not going to have to wait long to find out who this person is. Hopefully it can lift the show a bit. I mean, it's always interesting, isn't it? Social media, because I'm just, looking at this match and, and seeing the reaction to it. And I see lots of people on social media saying, oh, really good match, really enjoyed that match. So I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know who necessarily of that one. I thought it was fine. I thought it was a half-decent TV title match. But I don't know if I looked at that and was like, Ivy Nile, it's going to be, amazing or anything like that. I think there's still... a way to go for that one. I thought Ivy Nile grew into it, certainly, but I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was a bit clunky, to be honest with you. And that's not to say that every pro wrestling match has to be perfect and there's no botches or anything like that, but yeah, I thought it was okay. I think felt like I'd be generous if I went, it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't anything to particularly write home about. A couple of nice spots, largely carried by Rhea Ripley as well, to be honest with you, experienced worker, and a lot of the spots that were sort of high profile spots really result in sort of Ripley doing a lot of the work. So the big DDT spot, that's a Ripley spot. Even the German suplex off the middle rope, that's a big Ripley spot, for me, I thought it was okay. But that's me probably being quite kind, because I thought, like I said, it was a clunky start to say the least. But yes, so we're waiting on the Raw to come back from commercial break. Once it comes back from commercial, we're going to obviously find out who this former champion is. Who this former champion is that is returning to WWE. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Kervin says they take this match over Rhea Ripley versus Maxine. The match was not good, obviously. And, this match was more competitive, certainly. And that was a better match. But this is when sometimes it's difficult with social media, isn't it? Because, like, I've seen the reaction. It proves Ivy Nile belongs and all that kind of stuff. And I'd go, well, I don't know about that, She got featured in a spotlight match. I think if a really sort of cold eye would look at it and would say that towards the end, absolutely, there were some good spots and she grew in confidence, and it proved that maybe she can, she can be in a more featured role. But I don't know if I saw that match and be like, she's a future women's world champion. Absolutely, I would say I looked at it and went, well, there's still a bit of a way to go, and being sort of carried through a match isn't necessarily a reason that you got to have the complete package. So he says, and how long do you think Rhea keeps the title? As long as there's like not really anyone viable for her to drop it to. I don't think she should drop it to Becky Lynch. So I think she could keep it for a really long time. I think she could keep it for well over a year, to be honest. I don't see her dropping it at WrestleMania or anything like that, to be honest with you. But next week, CM Punk is in Portland, Oregon. We know he's backstage. Let's see who it is. Is it? It's Jinder Mahal. Here he comes. Jinder Mahal comes out, and in fairness, you literally heard the crowd go, "Ah." It's like the biggest cell phone, isn't it, to be honest with you? Because he literally came out, he comes out, and the crowd literally went, "Ah." If that's not an indication of where he's at, honestly. Oh. Obviously, Jinder Mahal is not going to be the actual one or anything like that. He's not going to be. But it's hilarious, to be fair. He's a former WWE champion. But they literally heard that music and everyone went, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Their action's priceless. But it's not going to be a surprise or anything like that. "50 WWE champions, and Jinder Mahal is at the top of that list." Maybe not Jinder. Oh, here we go. We're doing the anti-USA promo. I've never heard that one before in pro wrestling. No. Don't feel united, Jinder. And he's not only that, he's coming back and he's doing the same promos that he was doing in 2017. And the crowd goes USA. Like it's so tired. It's so done. It's so like tired out. Where you from? Well, I'm not from the USA. Well, and then you hate the USA then. There you go. He says exactly my point. Finally, they're all united in one thing. To be fair, he's won the people over when it comes to the promo. He just did the national anthem in Punjabi. What is going on? This promo's going on way too long, by the way. Did he just dish the Iron Sheik as well? What's he going to do now? He's going to speak in Punjabi again. There we go. Thank God. He's back. There he is. The Great One's here. Oh. Michael Cole screaming, yeah, on commentary. I think it might be LA Knight. He just gone, yeah! Oh, my God. The Great One's back. Oh. My goodness me. I mean, that promo went on for, the longest time, didn't it? But The Rock's back. And somewhere backstage, Cody Rhodes is talking about a story that he wants to finish. He's not sticking around, is he? He's not going to be back for that long. Dwayne's got the old goose pimples. Hey, that's 2 appearances on WWE television for The Rock in recent months. What a shock. So much of a shock that we had a graphic made ready. What's funny with The Rock as well is when he shows up and obviously he's completely jacked all the time, you go, oh, is he training for an in-ring return? You never know. He always looks like that. Well, the Great One is in California. Listen to the reaction. But I don't think it's setting up all that much. If it's Jinder Mahal in the ring, it's very much a run-off. A one-off, isn't it? Now, what's the over-under on how many, Punjab jokes he's going to do? Rock with a live microphone, you never know what he's going to say. The Great One is back. I bet Jinder Mahal didn't necessarily think that this was going to happen. Listen to the crowd chant for The Rock. You saw Gabriel Iglesias there as well. And there he is. The People's Champion. See what The Rock has to say. Heel Nation says, how many graphics did you have made? Just the one. Was pretty confident. Rock says, you're not the Iron Freak. Talks about how much he loved the Iron Sheik. Said, who is this no good son of a bitch jabroni bastard? And we go. I have a small, a small feeling that maybe Jinder's gonna maybe eat a rock bottom and a people's elbow. Jinder. I mean, to be honest, why? Like, who's come up with the idea of Rock should come out and attack Jinder Mahal of all people? He's proud to be the people's champion. He's proud to be an American. It said finally. Why did they boo him, Rock? They boo you. They blanked it out. He said they boo you because you're the biggest asshole on God's green earth. It's too easy for The Rock. They got him eating out there, the palm of the hand. He said, we're familiar with the resting bitch face. What this is. He said it's the resting asshole face. That was blanked as well. You're angry because nobody likes you and you're not funny. He said if you were you'd be one of the movies, you were Baywatch. It doesn't matter if you didn't see Baywatch.
It doesn't matter how you feel!
He even took a shot at his own Baywatch movie. USA chance. That's like The Rock is going to run for president. He's talking about being the modern day Maharaja again. And from here on out. He's the day one douchebag. Not the modern day Maharaja. And of course the crowd are chanting day one douchebag. Because, I mean, it wouldn't be The Rock without getting a catchphrase over, would it? Certainly. This gave The Rock an idea. What's The Rock going to do? He's the only man to unify all these people. Oh, here we go. They're going to do the one side, the other side thing again. Day one douchebag. 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 I mean, it's just too easy. It's too easy for The Rock, isn't it? Day one douchebag. I mean, they might just for the rest of the show. We've only got an hour left. What's he going to do now? He's gonna sing the national anthem. I mean, my God. Now he's singing his own version of the national anthem. His balls aren't there now. I mean, this feels like we're going into rock bottom territory, surely. Oh, Jinder Mahal actually attacked The Rock. There you go. There we go. Some stomps to the gut. Jinder Mahal's having a go. Look at this. Look, here goes Jinder. Not bad. Clever. And here comes The Rock. He's teeing off. Ducks under. Here we go. Spine buster. And get ready. The most electrifying move in all of sports entertainment, I think, is on the horizon. Here we go. Get ready. People's elbow. His belt came undone. And he's whipping him. Well, that was something, wasn't it? He started whipping him. He says, I love you. Happy New Year. He's a little hungry. He's going to get something to eat. We get something to eat. Should he sit in a booth? Should he sit at the bar? Or I know where he's going. I know where he's going. Or, say it. Should The Rock sit at the head of the table? Oh my goodness me. He said it. Oh my God. Should he sit at the head of the table? Oh my God. And the crowd has gone nuts. Listen to the crowd. Listen to the crowd. Listen to the crowd. The Rock is cooking. Well, one thing I would say, Dwayne, is you are very out of breath to do a Roman Reigns match. But he just teased it. He said, should I get something to eat? Should I sit at a booth? Sit at the bar? Or should I sit at the head of the table? That's a challenge. That is a challenge. Oh my. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Hey, Roman versus The Rock. It's happening. It's happening. Cody Rhodes, that story. Bit awkward. Bit awkward. My goodness me. Well, there you go. That's a tease. I don't even know if The Rock was meant to say it or anything like that or whatever's going on. But I'll tell you what. The Rock said it. He walks back through Gorilla right now. Goes to Triple H. Goes, so, about that match. About that match that we're thinking of doing. Hoo-hoo. And suddenly, you know, that whole story Cody Rhodes got going on, it don't really matter that much, does it? that doesn't really matter all that much. I think the head of the table looks like they're going to do it. I mean, that's the first time really, really, really properly strong. I know, like, you know, Roman's done the rock bottom and all that kind of stuff, you know, a couple of times, but that's the first real time that he's gone, right, head of the table. He's teased it. That is the biggest tease. That is the biggest tease. That is, if you're a trained pro wrestling fan, that's an indication they're doing it. Rock's agreed to it. It's happening. Now, what happens with Cody Rhodes? What happens with Cody? What do they do? You know, do you get the title off? Do you get the title off? I mean, I don't know. Do you go into the territory of going like, let's get the title off Seth, put it on Damian Priest, then you do Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest at WrestleMania, and you can do CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, then you can do Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Like, what do you do? Well, you know, I think and also as well, let's face it too, we've got a number one contenders match coming Friday night on SmackDown. Oh, by the way, it don't mean shit now. It means nothing. Because if this match is happening between The Rock and Roman Reigns, it doesn't matter if Randy Orton wins. It doesn't matter if LA Knight wins. It doesn't matter if AJ Styles win, because they're not facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's not what's happening, okay? The match that's happening at WrestleMania is Roman Reigns versus The Rock. That's certainly the tease right there. Oh my God. I'd love to know if, again, that was the surely that was the original, you know, plan for them to do that. But I tell you what, just listen to the crowd. You know, crowd absolutely just. If WWE was like, oh, should we do it? Shouldn't we do it? They just kind of got their answer very quickly, didn't they? Going, oh yeah, we should do. And what did I say at the beginning of the stream? I said at the beginning of the stream, if The Rock wants to do it, they will do it. Cody Rhodes' story be damned, they are going to do it because that is the biggest money match that they can do. And I know there has been talk about Elimination Chamber and all that kind of stuff, but realistically, for me, I think that's a massive indication, isn't it? That's huge. I mean, that is massive. That's ginormous. So, wow. We were talking, weren't we, during the stream, saying, it's been a bit of a not lackluster show, but we're kind of waiting for the spark. Certainly, we're waiting for the spark. Is this really what's to happen? And I think we just got it, didn't we? We just got what that is. My God, incredible! I'm just setting up some stuff now about what's going on as well. That's very, very significant. And the question becomes, what happens with Cody now? What story is they're going to be finished as well? Because I think that's what people thought as well, that given that it was with Jinder Mahal, is it just going to be a sort of throwaway segment that doesn't really matter, all that kind of stuff? Well, no, suddenly this matters a lot. That segment really mattered a lot. And it's funny as well, they're talking about, SmackDown Friday, this Friday on SmackDown, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter now at all. Drops Roman Reigns match hint. Boom. I'm just getting up the post show ready. This is what happens when you're live and you're on your own. You have to kind of improvise as you go. As a segment goes, it wasn't all that much. It was very much paint by numbers when it comes to The Rock, to be honest with you. But my goodness me. Mesh says, the question is, does The Rock win? No, The Rock wouldn't win the match against Roman. To be honest, Rock facing Roman at WrestleMania is just the biggest indication, isn't it, actually, that Roman's title reign is continuing. Now, the question is now, are they going to replay his tease about Roman Reigns? If they do the replay, the match is happening. If they do the head of the table tease again in this replay, then the match is happening. I think, anyway. That's sort of my prediction. Because they're just showing, at the moment, him sort of beating up, Jinder Mahal and all that kind of stuff. But if they do the tease once again, then I'm like, wow, it's on. It's really on. Are they going to show it again? If they show it again, then it's on. No, they just did the if you smile. They haven't gone straight away with the tease. That's quite significant. They haven't. Oh, here we go. I got to do the tease again. The Rock said, they have talked about it. I mean, it's happening. They've spoke about it again. It's happening. God, Shayna Baszler has come out to crickets, by the way. Here's the number one contenders tag team match. Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark. But they didn't show the replay of it, but they said it on commentary. So for me, it's happening. That's near enough confirmation that is happening. That is very, very, very significant. Big news. If nothing else happens tonight on Raw, it doesn't even matter. This is the biggest story coming out of the show, certainly. Here comes Tegan Nox. And her tag team partner is Natalya. Very interesting. Well, the thing is now is that again the crowd is like proper crickets at this point. Match is underway. Slingshot. Oof. Drops Zoey Stark onto the canvas. The question is, where'd you go from here as a show, to be honest with you, right? Number 1 contenders women's tag match. Zoey and Shayna versus Tegan and Natalya. Denisha says, hey, Owen, hope you're feeling better. Prayers here. Get well. Appreciate that. Yes, feeling much better. Thank you. Although I feel like I'm getting a cold. And we've gone straight to commercial because clearly The Rock overran a lot on his time. Absolutely. But look, I mean, if you are just joining us, we're going to be going over this extensively in the post-show. Yep. It looks like Roman Reigns versus The Rock. It's happening. It's on. Whether it happens at WrestleMania, well, remain to be seen. But what felt like a kind of paint-by-numbers, just kind of Rock return promo because he happened to be in town, looks like there's way more to it. So, yeah, big stuff. Big stuff. How is everybody feeling about that as well? Ed says, given how gassed out Rocky looks, I don't know if he can give a 20-minute Mania main event. Well, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Because he literally just did that whole sort of thing with Jinder was a couple of right hands, reversal, spine buster people's elbow, and he was gasping for air. And to be honest with you, if you go back and watch, I mean, particularly the first match against Cena, not so much the second time around, because he had a couple of matches by that point and was... he'd had the match at Survivor Series prior to the Mania match against Cena the first time round, but then he'd also had the couple of matches against Cena, the one at the Rumble, the one at Elimination Chamber. Like, he'd been competing. He wasn't as bad that one, but he did get injured in it. But you go watch back that match against Cena at WrestleMania 28, he gets gassed early in that match, Rock, and they do some proper like old school let's grab a hold and let's get our win back a couple of times. They do a bear hug spot, and that's in 2012. I mean, that's over a decade ago at this point, over a decade, and he was gasping for air then, let alone, what was that, 2012, this is however many years later, 12 years later by this point that WrestleMania 40 comes around. So he'd have to get some, next level cardio going. The only thing I can think of is that like the Roman Reigns matches. I mean, if you've seen any of the matches that he's done during his Tribal Chief run, they're not exactly, doing high spot after high spot after high spot. It's very much grab a hold. So they might just do that. It might be your classic Roman Reigns match where it's like, we're going to go 30 to 40 minutes. How much wrestling's involved in it? About 10. The rest of it's a lot of moving to the crowd, side headlocks, submissions, a couple of stuff on the outside of the ring, bit of interference, bit of Reigns telling the crowd to show up. Like it might be like that, to be honest with you. But, hey, match is on. I mean, let's be honest now. If it doesn't happen, what was the point involved in all of that? That's the interesting thing. Back from commercial. Tegan Nox in the ring. Clothesline to Shayna Baszler. There you go. Back elbow. Headbutt right to the chest. Backstage, you see Indy Hartwell with Candice LeRae. As Ed says, 10 minutes of wrestling, 50 minutes of smack talk, 50 minutes of interference. It's going to be something like that, isn't it? Tegan Nox does the Molly go round. We saw that earlier on in the evening. Tegan Nox once again goes for a Shining Wizard. Now it's going to go for here. Goes for a suplex. I mean, that's probably the worst reversal of a suplex I've probably ever seen from Shayna Baszler. Natalya's in. Oh, super kick by Zoey Stark. This match is dying a death. I mean, my God. Z360 pins Tegan Nox, and I'm going to be honest with you, the crowd could care less. Oh my God. I mean, wow. God. Very, very flat. Very, very flat. But they're number one contenders, Zoey and Shayna. Coming up next, though, it's the main event, World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Seth Rollins against Drew McIntyre. We're just seeing a replay or a video package. It's going to be interesting now. I mean, if this, if we're thinking about, let's say, The Rock versus Roman Reigns, that does happen at WrestleMania next year. I'm just trying to think then, what does the rest of the card then look like involved in all of that? Rock Roman, if that does happen, it's the main event of night 2. It just has to be, isn't it? It's the biggest match that WWE can do right now. Then, night 1, you still think, was it still going to be CM Punk versus Seth? Did you get Cody involved in that? Did you get Cody involved in it to become a triple threat, maybe? If Cody's not involved in it, like what do they do then? Or does Cody spin off into something else? If he does spin off into something else, who is that against as well? All of it's quite interesting as to what really that card does look like. Ed says Brock Gunther. That's the match that I want for Gunther at WrestleMania. I've seen people saying, well, he should drop the Intercontinental Championship if he's going to do the match against Brock. I see it completely the opposite. I see, have Brock go after the Intercontinental Championship. How great would that be? It's the title that Brock's never won. There's an actual reason involved there. And Gunther wins. Continues and Brock puts him over. Ray Dom 2, I think that's happening. Jimmy versus Jey. Yep. That one's happening. Just as far as other big stars, I think you get LA Knight versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania as well. US Championship. I think that one happens. King says something better happened because this Raw has just been the weakest show I've seen from WWE. In fairness, I think something did just happen. King, because The Rock showed up and then teased facing Roman Reigns in the future. It's quite significant. Like, when something that big happens, the rest of the show really doesn't matter all that much because that's the headline. I mean, we saw what happened when The Rock showed up on SmackDown in Colorado last year, and it was like one of the most viewed things that they'd done all year in terms of if you put every single view together. I think only Punk his return managed to like surpass that in terms of views on social media. So like that clip alone, WWE will get their fill from that over the next however many hours. Like that's just what's going to happen. So yeah, that's pretty significant, to be honest with you. Definitely. But we are moments away from this World Championship match. Here comes Drew McIntyre. Ed says Orton versus Solo. I think it's going to be John Cena versus Solo. But here comes the Scottish Warrior challenging for the title. Of course, Drew McIntyre, as of right now, still yet to re-sign a contract with WWE. As of the moment, anyway. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. Of course, it's put up or shut up for Drew McIntyre. Of course, McIntyre never has held a world championship in front of a live WWE crowd before. He's been the WWE champion twice, but both times was in front of no people. And then he lost the championship at Elimination Chamber in 2021, just before WrestleMania, and he'd never won it back since. So, yeah, it's certainly significant. But I mean, the thing is with McIntyre, and reportedly they were a bit far apart on money when it came to how much he felt he was worth versus how much WWE felt he was worth. We've seen with these contract extensions recently, WWE's paying big when it comes to contracts, right? Whether it's Cody Rhodes, he hasn't put pen to paper yet, but he's expected he's going to stay. Charlotte Flair is signed one of the biggest contracts for a female talent in WWE history. Ray's re-signed, Dominic's re-signed, Bayley's re-signed. I expect Drew McIntyre to re-sign. I think Kevin Owens re-signed, or he's going to re-sign? I think it is. You know, a lot of these people that people are talking about in, whether they're going to go in 2024, Seth and Becky, they'll re-sign. Sheamus, I expect Sheamus to re-sign, honestly. I know people talk about going to AEW and stuff like that, but all of these people we're talking about, they're WWE lifers. You know, they're gonna stay in WWE. You know, they're happy there, and you've got to realize too. Number one, business is booming. So when you're if you're a WWE talent right now, you stick around in WWE because you can make a shit ton of money right there at the moment. So you stick there for that reason. On top of that, like it can't be stressed enough, just in terms of like how much better, by all accounts, to work for WWE it is versus what it was a couple of years ago. By all accounts, a couple of years ago, I mean, we saw it. People were leaving WWE and going to AEW, not necessarily because AEW was amazing and AEW was better financially or anything like that. They could offer big money and good money and sometimes even better. But a lot of the time they were going there because they just could not work for WWE any longer. They couldn't work for Vince McMahon any longer. You had people like, for instance, Adam Cole, who was like, Vince McMahon wanted him on the main roster, and he was like, I just don't trust this process. I'm not going there. I'm just not doing it. Bryan Danielson leaves because he's like, I want to go and do things elsewhere, and I want to go and, have a lighter schedule. And they were like, no. And, and it was just, AEW was certainly viewed as a better place to work, because maybe at the time it was, because Vince McMahon's overhaul of stuff was just so toxic, But now, tide has changed. WWE, it was always the big leagues, but now it's not this toxic place to work anymore. You're selling out arenas. The backstage environment clearly is far superior to AEW as well, in terms of professionalism and in terms of, WWE, I'm sure, is still incredibly political. And as I mentioned, there's been a lot going on behind the scenes over the last 12 months in WWE. But it's, with AEW at the moment, certainly the product's not hot. There's a lot of creative issues in AEW currently, and there's a lot of just off-screen issues in AEW as well, isn't there? You know? We're back from commercial. There's about 24 minutes left. Probably we'll have a little bit of an overrun, I would think, to be honest. A major announcement from Triple H and the preview special this Thursday. Next week, we've got Cody Rhodes versus Shinsuke Nakamura. They've accepted the challenge. Rhodes versus Nakamura is next week on Raw. And we have the Women's Tag Team Championship rematch. Kaden Carter and Katana Chance versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven next week. And of course, CM Punk is back next week in Portland as well. We don't know who is backstage in California. Doesn't look like he's going to appear tonight, but you never know. Of course, he's got his eyes set on Seth Rollins and the World Championship. There is Drew McIntyre in the ring. They're just another recap. God, the show's got so many recap packages, isn't it? My goodness me. So many. But we do know Sami Zayn was competing at the live events. Yeah, there you go. They've just shown it. Needed 15 staples in his head. McIntyre says he brought it on himself. But there he is, the World Heavyweight Champion. The World Heavyweight Champion. Look at Seth Rollins. He was looking at that CM Punk shirt, wasn't he, for a second there? Crowd sing along to Rollins' theme song. Seth Rollins trying to get the crowd to get going a little bit. The crowd does feel somewhat fatigued a little bit, don't they? World Heavyweight Championship, though, on the line. Got about 20 minutes left of the show. Like I said, probably like a 5-minute overrun, I would think, something like that. And there he is, the Scottish Warrior, getting introduced. And Seth Rollins getting introduced as well. So the question becomes, do we have something big happen in this match? Or do we have Rollins retain the title? What are we going to see? That is certainly very, very interesting, isn't it? Well, certainly this match is going to get time. No doubt about that. And the match starts off hot, certainly. Oof, kick to the chest by Rollins. And McIntyre, he just flew over the top rope there, my God. And where's Seth going to go from here? Goes off the steps. And a big forearm right to the face of Drew McIntyre. Big forearm by McIntyre again. Oof. And, just drops Seth Rollins across the announce table. That was rough. They're bleeping the audio quite a bit at the moment here. I don't know who's cussing up a storm. He's going to go for that reverse Alabama slam. Rollins manages to hold on. Kick to the back of the head by Seth Rollins there. Seth floats over. Pair of boots to the chest. He's going to go for a tope suicida. McIntyre catches him. Belly to belly throw on the outside of the ring by McIntyre. And once again, we got commercial. Straight to commercial. How many likes are we currently on? We're only 25 likes away from 100, by the way. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. We're currently at 15,565. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. You never know. Could possibly get to 15,570. Anything is possible, as they would say. So, we've got, as I mentioned, about sort of 15 minutes or so remaining of the show. Reminder, we are going to be live for a post-show after this as well. Just kind of really going over, I guess, the biggest stories of the show, bit of a review. Probably going to be talking about mostly The Rock for like, I don't know, 15 minutes. so 15 minutes for probably like 45 minutes, something like that. That's probably what we're going to do throughout all of it. But certainly, very, very, very significant stuff. I could probably make that public now, actually. There you go. So you won't even have to go anywhere. You'll be redirected straight to the stream afterwards. I'm seeing an advert for Echo, the MCU series. It's 18 rated, or M for mature, as they would say, which I'm quite excited about. I tell you what, something's happened when it comes to Marvel, hasn't it? Talk about a drop-off. I guess it was inevitable post-Endgame. But some of it's been staggering. Some of the sort of just terrible stuff Marvel has put out over the last 4 years is actually quite staggering when you think about it, isn't it? My God. What can save them at this point? Maybe Deadpool and Hugh Jackman can save them. I don't know. I don't know. It's very, very, very hit and miss. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 I liked, but we're not seeing that ever again. James Gunn's with DC. And the DC EU is now dead, officially, thank God. But a lot of pressure on the DCU to succeed. What did I even like from Marvel post-Endgame? Obviously the Spider-Man, No Way Home, very good. But, because they basically did what they did in Endgame, which was bring all the big people together. Loki season 1 and 2 was fantastic, was brilliant. I enjoyed that. Enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What else did I like? I wasn't opposed to Moon Knight. I don't think it was perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and I wanted it to be more violent because I'm a big Moon Knight fan. I've got a lot of the comics, and I've got quite a few of the graphic novels. So I'm a Moon Knight fan, and it was okay. I think I was probably just happy because I'm a big fan of that character, and I wanted to see it adapted to TV, and it was okay. And Oscar Isaac is really good. That was okay, but some of the stuff, She-Hulk, I think, is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, that show is so bad. I was angry watching it. It was that bad. And then when I saw how much it cost to make because of the CGI, and the CGI wasn't even good. It was just horrific. I think that's the worst MCU thing. I really do. I think She-Hulk is the worst thing that I've seen from the MCU. It's awful. It's so bad. Secret Invasion was just boring and just not good. What a chop by Drew McIntyre. Took him off his feet. And look at this. Just hammer fists by Drew McIntyre. And now stomps to the gut. Falcon and Winter Soldier only had one good episode. Same with Secret Invasion. Yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier I wasn't a big fan of, I'll be honest with you. I know some people said they like it. It just... I don't know, I just found it a bit dry. The best thing out of it was Zebo. Oh, tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Nice by Drew McIntyre. Cover. And Seth Rollins kicks out. Harry says the amount of budget used for She-Hulk compared to Obi-Wan Kenobi is shocking, really. I really liked Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought it was brilliant. Again, it wasn't perfect. But it was, you know, seeing Hayden Christensen back and the Vader stuff. The thing that I wasn't, like, thrilled with, the whole Obi-Wan thing, is just, I was just like, why are we... I feel like we're adding sort of strange loopholes to the story here that we don't need to. Like, you know, with Leia and Obi-Wan and stuff like that. Rollins got McIntyre up for a powerbomb, or drops down, his back gave out. And look at this. Look at the strength by McIntyre. Or he reverses Hurricane Runner. Oh, McIntyre goes straight into the post. That was nasty. John Elite for Life says, where would you say the DCEU failed? It probably failed. It failed with Justice League, didn't it? I mean, Batman vs. Superman was flawed. But it's like, Tope con Hilo. He lands on his feet, actually. But he went into the barricade. But ultimately, it failed with Justice League. Man of Steel... Like, Man of Steel was, I felt, was like okay. I like the Batman vs Superman was too long. It was too dark. I didn't like the Batman with guns and all that kind of stuff. That's not Batman. I thought Ben Affleck did a really good Bruce Wayne and a pretty good Batman too. Like, I'm not against that. Henry Cavill was a great Superman. But counters it into like a neck breaker. Look at that by Seth Rollins. Frog splash. Cover. 2. Or McIntyre kicks out. Now, I think, if you watch the director's cut of BVS, it is better. But it should be way better than that. And ultimately, the DCEU died is because they didn't stick to the vision. Even if you liked it or you didn't like it, if they'd have just stuck to Zack Snyder's vision, it'd have been something. But it got so caught up and convoluted, and that Justice League movie, the first one, the Joss Whedon cut, is horrific. Oh, he went for version of a lion salt, lands on his feet, does Rollins. McIntyre, look at the agility by Drew McIntyre. How easy he can go over the top rope. Superplex. He's going to turn it into a Falcon Arrow. Look at this. Oh, McIntyre counters into a Falcon Arrow of his own. Nice. Oh, and Rollins kicks out. Brilliant. Go to commercial again. I mean, this match has kind of been quite hamstrung by commercial breaks, hasn't it? Hamstrung by commercial breaks. Yeah, I think the Whedon cut is really horrific. I mean, honestly, how you can open a movie that's got like, would it have $250 million budget with that shot of Henry Cavill with his mustache digitally altered out and think that's acceptable? That is nuts. That is just nuts. I mean, really crazy. The Snyder Cut's better. Long. It's better. It makes more sense. It's still not amazing, but it's better. And it did feel like, if you watched the Snyder Cut, you go, well, they're clearly setting up a lot of stuff for the future, aren't they? They're setting up going to space. They're setting up Green Lanterns. They're setting up Martian Manhunter. They're setting up, the Earth being terraformed into Apocalypse. They're setting up all that stuff. So they're setting up Darkseid. So, yeah. Murphy Max says, Owen, do you get the picture-in-picture there in the UK? No. And it's very annoying. You don't. You just go, if I'm assuming in the States they probably stick to picture-in-picture. We don't. We just get adverts as well. And it's like, very, very frustrating. Like I said, with the AEW stuff, if you get if you subscribe to Fight, you don't even get the picture-in-picture. You just get the regular feed with the commentators talking, which is much better. So you really watch a 2-hour show. Like, obviously, with commercials and stuff like that, the shows are usually like an hour and a half. You get an hour and a half of broadcasting, then like 30 minutes of commercials across 2 hours ish, or sometimes an hour and 15 of actual programming. Whereas if you watch the feed on Fight for AEW, you get the full 2 hours, which is pretty cool. What else are people saying here in the chat at the moment? King says, great match ruined by commercial breaks. It's always the problem with TV, and always the case with the main event of a show that's featured The Rock, 'cause he's gone over, so they're trying to catch up time, seemingly. What else are people saying here? David T says, that cut single-handedly left a bad taste in my mouth. The Snyder cut came out a bit too late for me. It was a 7 out of 10. I don't know if I'd give it 7. I'd probably give it like a 6 or something like that. Yeah. Ziad says, ever thought about streaming you play? We do gaming streams here on the channel. We just do lots of old wrestling games. I haven't been able to do it recently, but I've got been playing old PS1 and PS2 games and 360 games. There's going to be quite a lot more of that this year. The problem is just finding time to fit that in. Not even necessarily just the streaming scheduled time, but also fitting it in with all of the news videos, because there's so much going on all the time. So, air raid crash! Oh, that was nasty by McIntyre, Seth Rollins. 2. Oh, and Rollins just rolls the shoulder up. Oof. Ed says, I really thought introducing Black Adam would lead to Superman, Black Adam, Shazam crossover movie. You know what the problem is the whole Black Adam movie was just one giant power play by Dwayne Johnson. And, it bombed. And he wanted Black Adam to be a bigger character than he really is. And he didn't really want to... He kept saying he wanted to do crossover with Shazam, but he didn't. He wanted to do a movie with Superman, which does happen in the comics and stuff like that, but he wanted the DCEU to be made around him. And it's like, yeah, but you're Black Adam. Like, that's not a central character. Rollins super kick to the head of McIntyre. Goes for the stomp. McIntyre moves out the way. Future shock. Boom. Doesn't go for the cover, though. He's going to go for a nip-up instead. There you go. Look at this. McIntyre is just an unbelievable athlete, isn't he? Incredible. Here we go. I think we're going to go for Claymore territory here. The countdown's going to go. 1. Oh, look at that. Oh, count as a powerbomb. Oh, unbelievable. Oh. What a match. Now, this is when the crowd chant, this is awesome, because this is by far the best match of the show. I mean, no, nothing comes close. Got Rollins trying to figure out what's going on. Or what to do. Rollins going to go for a Phoenix Splash, perhaps. Phoenix Splash. Oh, rolls through. Oh, he nearly went for Claymore. Oh. Gonna go for a pedigree. Pedigree by Rollins. 2. Oh, McIntyre kicks out. Ziad says, do you actually like WWE though? Like it seems so cringe in terms of acting. You caught me, I hate it. No, I love pro wrestling. Pro wrestling, this is the thing. It's like saying, so do you like every Marvel movie then? There are things that you like, there are things that you don't like. There are scenes that you go, oh, that acting was rubbish. There are good actors, there are bad actors, there are good matches. Here we go. Uh-oh. Damian Priest is marching down to the ring. Is this going to be it? And what's Dominic Mysterio? Oh, Priest just hit Rollins with the briefcase. Gonna catch it. Oh, Claymore. Claymore by McIntyre. He throws Mysterio. Oh, Claymore. Claymore to Rollins. It's going to be it. It's going to be a hit. Oh, no. His foot's on the rope. His foot's on the rope. He knew nothing about it. Wow. What a rope break. It's shades of Adrian Neville in the UK. Brilliant. Oh. Incredible. Incredible. McIntyre, he's grabbing going on the announce table. What's going on here? McIntyre's got Rollins on the table. Oh. Rollins going to go for a pedigree. Pedigree on the announce table. Oh. And he's going to go for the stomp. Stomp. Gotta crawl, he's got to crawl, he's got to crawl. 1, 2, 3, and Seth Rollins retains. Oh, what a match. What a match. What a match, what a finish, near falls. Damian Priest comes out, hits Rollins with the briefcase. Claymore to McIntyre, by McIntyre to Priest, throws Mysterio. Claymore to Rollins in the ring, but his foot's on the rope. Then it's a pedigree on the announce table, stomp in the ring, Rollins retains. What a match! And the question is, I don't think Priest is going to cash in. More disappointment for Drew McIntyre indeed. And there we go. That is the end of the show. So don't worry, guys. You don't have to go anywhere. The post-show is going to be coming up very, very shortly. You're going to be redirected straight to it. So you don't even have to worry about a single thing. I'll be back in 2 ticks. I'm out of here.